Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie Spotlight. We're your host Jake
And Matt.
here to run you through all the action of Matchday 33 in Serie A on episode 217.
Another match day and another extension of Inter's lead at the top of the table. This time to 12 points after they cruised past Cagliari and Napoli lost at home to Lazio. As a result, Milan have taken back second place after a far from straightforward victory over 19th place Verona, while Juve are starting to look cozy in fourth after beating Bologna. Como also lost to Sassuolo and Atalanta and Roma drew. Cremonese got a valuable point against Torino, but Lecce responded with a point of their own against Fiorentina. They are thus still tied on points, and if they remain that way until the last match of the season, then a relegation playout it is, which we haven't had in a while, since Verona Spezia.
Yes, brother.
It was
yes,
with the
yes.
Faraoni handball off the line and Zola
disaster class. Yes.
What a game. Low key, I'm kind of rooting for the relegation playout. Goal of the week, brother. This is a rare occasion where we have two different ones, right?
Yes. I had to go for. Well, you can go first, bro.
I'll go first. My favorite goal came in my favorite match of the week, my favorite action of the match. It was Sassuolo's relentless counterattacks and Grosso's relentless counterattacks against Fabregas, and just finished off so eloquently by Volpato. Now, Bute is a keeper that loves being off his line and in no man's land. He reminds me of Casillas in his last season under Mourinho and for the Spain national team, where he was just constantly in no man's land. But that dink over him, first time dink by Volpato, so clever. And he was the guy that stepped in for Berardi in this game. So
Beautiful,
all the
man.
more poetic.
It was a really nice goal. And a really fluid counter-attack as well. Really nice work from Inzola, who we actually mentioned in the intro.
Yep.
Yeah, my goal of the week has to be Piotr Zieliński, as he scored the third goal for Inter in their 3-0 thumping of Cagliari. It was a wonderfully hit strike. The technique on it was absolutely amazing. The ball just floated with power into the top corner. It was like it wasn't even spinning. It stopped moving midair.
He scored one like that earlier this season directly from a Çalhanoğlu corner to him outside the area, and he hit it on the volley with his outstep as well, and it floated the same way.
Only bangers for Zieliński this season, man.
Only bangers for Inter, dude. They have, Di Marco, Çalhanoğlu, and Zieliński, that every goal they score, just wow. Even Dumfries at this point, with the amount of power he gets behind those headers. As always, guys, stay tuned till the end of the episode, even though they're typically over 2 hours, for our patron segments. We have Fantasy League updates and an update in our prediction series where Jake has actually beaten me 5-4 this week. Finally, one of his Lecce draw calls have come off after they drew to Fiorentina, and that's what gave you the edge over me.
I think I pulled something flexing right now.
Yeah, you've been weird today.
I'm not well today. I have a stitch in my chest, and it's been there for a while. I might die mid-podcast. So
you might die mid-podcast.
So stay tuned.
I'll get it done till the end, no matter what, guys. Don't worry, I'll be here. And what was that?
He said, "Don't steal his spotlight."
The Serie A spotlight.
Yeah.
So it's now 8-6 between me and Jake, and I only have 5 more match days to try and make up that ground. Also, we won't be doing our patron corner at the end of the episode, but we will be doing it during our breakdown of Roma Atalanta, because patron Matthias, who is a Roma fan, gave us a lot of great input, and we would like to use that as part of our coverage of Roma in that period. Without further ado, before we get into anything, guys, of course, shout out goes to our media partners, Benevo Bid. Check out our link in bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. If you check out their socials, you can also see the players signing off on those kits, which is a nice touch from their end. They just had a Leao giveaway, and yeah, they have something new going on every week, so head on to their socials and check them out, and most importantly, click the link in our bio to check out their website. Most of the proceeds go to charity. So you can not only make a difference, but also upgrade your collection.
That's match-issued kits, not kids.
Did I say match issued kids?
No, I'm just clarifying, just
Okay,
in case the listener misheard.
Very, very important. It is
Yeah.
not match issued kids.
Yeah,
Those kids go straight home to their parents.
exactly.
If you're new here, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and rate us 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us grow and keep on bringing you quality content, if you would call us quality content. If you really love us and want early access, live episodes, and much, much more, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll be added to a group chat with 50 plus like-minded legends, join our fantasy league, and even win a free kit of your choice for winning the league. This is a group full of 50 of my favorite people in the world, and we often have moments where I forget that these people were introduced to each other through our podcast.
It's
because
true.
the way they speak to each other, it's like they've been friends for ages.
It's true. It's a lovely community, and we actually had a bit of someone had a bit of a personal issue. Shout out to Yiji, one of our patrons, and the amount of support he received in our community was just really nice to see. It was very wholesome.
It was obviously sad, but it gave me a sense of pride that we've created this community where people
really.
can just get together and speak, man.
Yeah, it was very heartwarming, man.
Yeah, totally. And sending love to Yiri, obviously.
Yeah.
You will also get the chance to feature on our Patron Corner segment throughout our episodes, where you can have your say live on our show. This week you'll be seeing Mattias speaking about the situation at Roma, particularly including regarding Gasperini and Ranieri.
Yeah.
Without further ado, brother, shall we hop into the first match?
Yes, the first match was Inter 3, Cagliari 0. This will be, of course, the first match we'll be discussing. We had Martinez in goal for Inter. They finally made the switch.
Yeah.
Akanji, De Vrij and Carlos Augusto played at the back with Dumfries and DiMarco on the flanks. Barella, Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan started in the middle with Esposito and Thuram partnering up front. As for Cagliari, it was also a 3-5-2 formation with Caprile in goal, Rodriguez, Mina and Pedro at the back with Palestra on the right, Obert on the left, Sulemana, Gaetano and Dadopo in the middle, with Borelli and Esposito starting up front. Nice to see two brothers going head-to-head in Serie A.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It didn't
Of
even
course.
cross my mind. Amazing.
Esposito versus Esposito.
Yeah.
So Inter were quite flat in the first half. It was low tempo. They didn't score, limited chances. So they went into halftime 0-0. But as they have been doing recently, they had a second half surge. The Italian media calls this a potion. The potion that Inter get for the second half. And they won 3-0. They scored in the 52nd, and the 56th, and in the 92nd minute, maintaining control with 55% ball possession and 18 shots to Cagliari's 10. That's 5 shots on target for Inter to Cagliari's 1 shot on target. Cagliari's best chance came from Esposito's only shot on target, forcing Martinez into a low save. Cagliari started the game quite aggressively, but faded out after a few minutes into the game. Now, just to describe the goals a little bit too, you had Thuram, who scored in the 52nd minute. He tapped in at the back post from DiMarco's low and swinging left-sided delivery after Barella and Mkhitaryan progressed down the left, overloading the left, basically. They did very well over there. And then short after, just literally 4 minutes later, Barella finished a rebound from the edge of the box after Thuram's initial effort was blocked. And it's good to mention that Barella did not celebrate, as he is a former Cagliari player, of course.
Being Sardinian himself, no?
Of course. And it was Thuram who actually forced a smile onto his face by lifting him up into the air. And he forced him into a smile.
Yeah, he was telling him, get me down, get me down. He's hating the spotlight at the moment, Barella just wants to do his job, it seems.
And also he was a bit embarrassed scoring against his former team, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do that. He was a very good player for Barella, and they really molded him into the player he is today. And then, of course, in the 92nd minute, it was Zieliński's wonder goal, struck first time from the edge after a Dumfries knockdown, and the move was largely built by substitutes, with Diouf and Boni heavily involved. Both teams used the 3-5-2. What do you think? First of all, my first question for you is, what do you think of these smaller teams mirroring the formation of bigger teams when they go head-to-head?
I think it's not always the wisest, because it's when a club mirrors the other team from a formation perspective, it gives me the impression that they're going man for man.
Mhm.
And there are certain teams like Inter who are constantly pushing players out of position. They have defenders joining midfield, they have midfielders joining defense, wingers going more central, and all this like total football kind of thing, which you're setting yourself up for failure by going man to man against these teams. However, with that being said, I thought Cagliari held their own pretty well in the first half. But then Inter do this thing in many games where they just get 2 goals in quick succession, man. Where they do nothing all game and then get those 2 goals in quick succession. And then after that, they could bring on Diouf, they could bring on this guy and that guy. And then get a goal like Zieliński did at the end. It was just the final flex on Cagliari.
8 of the last 12 goals scored between the 45th minute and the 70th. Okay, wait, no, let me word this differently. So across the last 3 games for Inter, they scored 8 of their last 12 goals between the 45th and the 72nd minute.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so clearly there's an instruction over there to up the intensity at the start of the second half. And it's working. They circulate the ball much faster. They use their wing backs, they create overloads, and they really, really push. I feel like Cagliari this game, bro, were not very inventive. They relied a lot on balls from Gaetano or Esposito to Palestra, who would literally just charge down. And I feel like other than that, they didn't have many ideas going forward.
And I mean, look where Cagliari are in the table at the moment. Scoring goals was never their strong suit this season.
Yeah.
That was never it for them. I think they've been a lot more of a structured and composed team this year, apart from the mid-season kind of slip-ups that they've had where they've racked up a lot of losses in a row. But I mean, this was a game against Inter, who are so high on confidence right now. They've just extended their lead at the top of the table to 12 points. If if Milan and Napoli slip up this weekend, then they're crowned champions. Every single one of their players is pretty much on form. And then you have Cagliari, who, every game is important for them to continue distancing themselves from relegation, but there's nothing more you can do against this Inter team. So I won't criticize Cagliari too much for not being that inventive in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Palestra had one moment where he could have played Mendy in, but Akanji dealt with it very well. I feel like the ball could have been a bit better from Palestra, but he did so much running that you don't blame him for not getting the final touch perfectly. But a key talking point in this game, bro, someone who did get it done perfectly, is Di Marco, bro. Di Marco is close to breaking a record for the all-time leading assists in a single season, which is held by Papu Gomez. That's 16 assists. Right now, Di Marco is on 15 assists. Do you think he'll break it?
God, I need to see Inter's fixtures. But I get the feeling he will. I know that he just had a bit of people are calling it a slump over the last few games.
But this was a decent performance. Huh?
This was a good performance by him, and just when you're having a good season, the second you go 3 games, 4 games without scoring, people start criticizing you, going, is this really going to be the MVP of Inter? Absolutely, he's going to be the MVP of Inter. Who else would be the MVP of Inter? He has 15 assists this season.
But you know what, man? When
15 assists.
Yeah. It's crazy. But when Lautaro got injured, man, they barely looked like themselves. And to get out of that slump, it actually took his return. So it might be argued that Lautaro, when it comes to his leadership qualities and just his presence on the pitch, might deserve it. Huh? And the fact that he's top scorer as well.
He's top scorer as well.
That's massive.
He's top scorer.
I mean, when you take into account the fact that he has scored the most goals and he's so influential on the pitch and they're so limp without him, I think it has to go to him.
Sure, but for me, availability has a large part to do with this. Like, Lautaro has missed a lot of games this season, and plus, okay, he's important to the team as a figure, and even for what he brings to the team, of course. But standout wise, if there was a player that stood out in my eyes, he might break the record for the most assists in a Serie A singular season. How can you do that and not be the MVP of the team that wins the league? Inter remaining have Torino away, Parma home, Lazio away, Verona home, Bologna away. I say he gets it done. Not against Parma, though.
It has to happen. And if he keeps charging down the flank like he's doing, it will happen. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Someone who's also enjoying a purple patch right now is Barella, who has really turned around his fortune, of course, as we discussed. That's 2 goals and 3 assists in the last 5 games, bro. Straight from the ashes of that Italian national team trauma has risen a phoenix, and its name is Barella.
We spoke about it in the last episode.
Yeah.
There are players after that period that came back stronger. Like, thank God that's over. I can focus on this now and get away from the talk about the Azzurri and whatever until the World Cup. And then there are the ones that have been affected even more negatively, which is obviously, Bastoni, who didn't even feature in this. Well, he didn't start this game. He didn't even feature in this game, actually.
Bro, they were speaking to Auxilio about him, and he said something along the lines of if Barca or if anyone want to make an offer, they have to pick up the phone, basically saying that they haven't actually received anything, despite the Spanish media constantly writing about Bastoni.
I mean, the Spanish media as well, they're very active. But Barca and Real being 2 of the biggest clubs in the world, if they go so far as to utter someone's name, it's, headlines.
Yeah. At the end of the game, bro, there was a note. Okay, so of course, first of all, there was some rotation. Of course, Kivu managed the game really well. He managed the workload ahead of tonight's Coppa Italia game, because tonight, of course, there's Como against Inter in the semi-final, which could be a historic game because, of course, Inter have not had a manager winning the domestic double since Mourinho in 2010. And meanwhile, Fabregas, of course, is looking to steer Como into the Coppa Italia final for the first time in the club's history. So there is that. It's a massive game tonight. I actually can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, same.
But Kivu at the end of the game was flirting with Palestra, and you could see it. And even Auxilio spoke about him. He told him, "Well done, you're strong." Can you see Palestra at Inter? I think it would fit like a glove.
I can absolutely see Palestra at Inter. It depends on. So there's this whole reshuffle that's going to take place at Inter next season. Everyone's talking about it. I think they have some budget because they didn't go crazy in the last one. They're about to win the league and they might win the Coppa Italia as well. So I don't think budget is going to be a problem for Inter. Palestra is an option now. For me, it's screaming. It's a very similar signing for when they signed Carlos Augusto, which is they signed a wing back from a minnow side that had a breakthrough season.
Remember, Palestra is owned by Atalanta.
Yes. But the main situation is that they already have someone in that position that is basically their best player.
Yeah.
So when Inter signed Carlos Augusto, they already had DeMarco, and now if they sign Palestra, they already have Dumfries on that side. So they're definitely not signing him to displace Dumfries. Are they signing him to learn from Dumfries, to rotate with Dumfries because they're going to play in multiple competitions, maybe to help with their Italian player quota for the amount of Italian players that they have in the national team?
It could be. He's definitely not going to be cheap though, because Atalanta drive a hard bargain.
They do.
And
But a lot of people are saying like 50 million. Which that's the Italian tax, right? Which I don't know if Inter would spend 50 million, but I know some clubs in the Premier League that might.
Because you spend 50 million, he might not even be the best on your team in that position.
Right,
so
but this is exactly how the Italian teams lose Italian talent, though, because Leone is at Liverpool. They spent 50 million or however much, and he tore his cruciate immediately. Immediately, he played like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you never know. Is it worth the bargain? I think it is, because we saw him play consistent, solid football as right wing back, and it's hard to find young local Italian talent playing that consistently at the moment, and for a small side like Cagliari.
Yes, and to be honest, I'm curious to see him at Atalanta, because I think he walks into that team right now.
He does, totally. Well, he has to fight Bellanova, who hasn't had the smoothest of seasons, but it's Bellanova.
Has been linked with Milan, by the way. But anyway, Zieliński has become the highest Polish goal scorer in Serie A history.
Shout out my boy Zieliński.
But does that surprise you? I was a bit surprised when I saw it, but it makes sense. He's been around for ages. He was at Napoli before, scoring crackers. I'm sure. Was he at Empoli before?
Yes, he was. Yes, coming to think of it, it is surprising. But I can't really think of many Polish players that played in Serie A, probably just because, I'm put a bit on the spot.
Yeah, it's on the spot, yes.
But the next comment is, right? Unless Lewandowski goes to Juve next season and scores bloody 60 goals in a single season.
Yeah. Just one more point, because I mentioned Fabregas making history with Como by reaching the Coppa Italia. This season has actually already been a massive achievement for Como, because it's the first time they made the semi-final since the 1985-86 season.
Well, I'm surprised they even made it back then.
Right, but they were.
It's not as shocking as I thought that stat would be.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, bro. So yes, Inter have moved plus 12 at the top of the table. They could win at any moment now, of course. Could happen next week, could happen the week after, whatever. Congratulations to them. They have been so consistent this season, while all the other teams around them have been relatively inconsistent. Head and shoulders for me this season.
And what surprises me the most, and we'll have to give him his flowers, is Kivu. Kivu is still being criticized by a lot of people for the Champions League exit to Bodo Glimt, and before he was criticized for that, before the season even started, the same people were saying he wouldn't make it until January as Inter's manager. And he might win a double now. Now, of course, it's not guaranteed that he's going to win a double. I would go so far as to say I really fancy Como in that semi-final, because they got killed by Inter two fixtures ago. And then they were 2 goals up against Inter and they lost 4-3. Now the third time, now they really want revenge. And because they probably aren't going to make Champions League, they're 5 points behind Juve, whatever, and their place in the Europa League is at risk because of Atalanta, because of Roma actually, then I think that it's super important for them to go as far as possible in the Coppa Italia, and it would actually get them places if they make it to the Coppa Italia. So it's like almost a do or die for them.
For me, the Coppa Italia this season is very interesting, especially when you look at teams like Como and Lazio, man. Mm-hmm. Lazio are going to want that very badly. And they've improved so much, man.
Totally. We'll speak about them very soon, but I almost want Lazio to win that, even though right now, for very particular reasons we'll bring up later, they're my least favorite team in the league.
Yeah, brother.
But Kivu, just on the note of Kivu, man, what he's been able to do with the minimal amount of change is crazy for this team. Now, I know the minimal amount of change could have actually benefited him because there's an element of continuity after the long-term spell of Simone Inzaghi. Mm-hmm. But this is the same aging team that fell out of all competitions last season and got away with nothing. All right, you'll tell me they had 2 new strikers. Sure, they had a 21-year-old Boni and a 19-year-old Esposito. It is down to Kivu's ability on getting the best out of these players as well and putting them into a system that actually favors them. Mm-hmm. Look at what he got out of DeMarco as well. I think he's done a fantastic job.
He has done a fantastic job. And in reality, you can't go for a young manager and expect him to be absolutely flawless. You know, it's already crazy that he has managed to run away with the league and actually confirm it quite early without any real massive scares. Obviously, there are going to be some shortcomings. For example, the fact that they haven't been totally convincing in big games, even though they have improved in that aspect. And the fact that the Champions League, they left a lot to be desired. I think Kivu should be looked at by Inter fans as part of the project, part of the future.
Totally.
You know, he ran away with the league this season. Let's keep going. Let's grow under him. Let's grow alongside him. Let's grow with him.
Like, if this is the transition phase for Inter, congratulations. Yeah. What a great transition.
Like, look at how many transition phases Roma have had.
Roma have been in transition since 2002. Not even joking.
Yeah. It doesn't always go so swimmingly when you employ a young manager, of course.
Congratulations, Inter.
Congrats, yes. Even though it's not technically mathematically done, but it will be done next season, of course. Yes, it is. Inter in first. They are 12 points clear, while Cagliari find themselves in 16th. They are 4 points above relegation. They need to be careful, and their fixtures are extremely tough coming up as well. So we'll keep an eye on them as well.
Yeah, I won't take too long on this game, but it makes sense to cover this one next. It's Hellas 0, Milan 1. Milan are back in second place after that, ahead of their match against Juve this weekend, Sunday at 8:45. That's going to be a massive one. Milan came into this match desperate for a win after back-to-back losses, their only back-to-back losses of the season. No longer in the title race, with top 4 far from a guarantee. They had no absentees for this game. Hellas now at 5 losses in a row, coming off a 2-1 loss to Torino. They are now 10 points behind 17th. They missed Serie in this game. The previous encounter was a 3-0 victory for Milan. Verona played a 3-4-2-1 formation with Montepò in goal, a backline of Nelson, Edmondson and Valentini. They had Bradaric on the left, Ogeyoke on the right, double pivot of Gagliardini and Akpa Akpro. Bernede and Belgali started behind the troublemaker, Gift Orban.
Naughty boy, huh?
Very naughty boy. Hate him. 3-5-2 for Milan. Manjan in goal, backline of Tomori, Gabbia and Pavlovic. How good is it to have Gabbia back? Atekame on the right, Bartesaghi on the left, midfield trio of Fofana, Modric and Rabiot, with a striking partnership of Leao and Pulisic. Milan started decently, but the game quickly turned into a scrappy, low-quality battle with few chances. Guys, this was a very, very boring and lifeless game of football, but the breakthrough came just before halftime when Leao slipped a beautiful ball to Rabiot, who finished calmly. It was a bit of a give and go. Great run by Rabiot off the ball, and a very well-weighted and accurate pass by Leao. Manjan made an important 1v1 save on Belgali soon after to keep the lead. And then the second half was incredibly flat. Milan were sat back and Verona were just attacking without that cutting edge, really. They got close through Varmesan. His name escapes me right now, but it was a curler, which was very, very close. And then Gabbia had to produce a low second block on Gift Orban with a square when there was a square ball into the box, but Orban really didn't get enough power behind that shot, but Gabbia did extremely well. My point is Milan got that early lead, they stuck onto it, but almost risked losing everything against Hellas Verona.
Yeah, you're talking about Ioan Vermasan, the Romanian 19-year-old.
Romania, we love Romania. Shout out
Yes.
Romania.
Shout out Romania.
Unless you would have scored, then we
beautiful
wouldn't have
country.
been huge fans. But no, what a country, you should definitely go.
This was an interesting game for... can I jump in?
Yes, of course you can.
So I think that, first of all, the reaction to this game has been unnecessarily negative. I think that Milan had to bounce back in the type of game that they haven't been winning convincingly all season.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, in fact, a hurdle with
Mhm.
all the teams putting pressure on Milan. Granted, Como actually ended up losing. But anyway, this was a must-win. When you look at the season, Milan lost to Parma, Udinese and Cremonese, while mostly dominating the statistics. They drew to Fiorentina, Genoa, Sassuolo and Pisa. Hellas Verona are the type of banana skin that Milan tends to slip on. Exactly.
100%.
When you look at the statistics of this game and you look at the flow of the game, it's true that Milan did not create much. Milan did not press, and this is why the game tends to look so bad, because Milan really sit back. I think they're the team in the league who presses the least, man.
Yeah,
And
probably.
one of the teams in Europe that actually presses the least. I forgot I'd seen a stat about that. But so it's not going to be pretty, and it's not. Milan aren't going to go into this game and absolutely destroy Hellas Verona. And I think the fact that Milan don't press as much could be the fact that there have been such fitness issues along the forward line.
I mean,
You know,
it's Leao and Pulisic who, had write-offs of seasons because of the injuries that they've been carrying all
Yeah.
season. God forbid, I see Leao press because it would anger me. Because I'm like, why aren't you running on the ball, but then you're pressing your ass off? Because
Yeah.
we all know what his strengths are. But even Allegri, bro, went so far as to say after the game, less about pressing and more about the result.
Mhm.
Now, Allegri was never a manager to play stellar football. He's very much about the result.
Mhm.
And he re-emphasized after the game. He said, I don't care about the performance.
Yeah.
I don't care about the performance. Like, we need 3 points to stay on our objective. And
That's
what
it.
did we do? We got 3 points.
And a clean
Milan-
sheet.
And the thing is, and a clean sheet. The problem is, Milan's fan base is pissed off with this performance, whatever, we made it very clear at the start of the season. We said Allegri is going to get Milan consistently points. He's going to get Milan into the top 4, and he's going to give Milan a sense of stability. But what is going to happen when Milan go through a negative phase? The boring football is going to stand out 10 times more.
Yes.
Before they're like, I don't care about boring football because we're getting points. And then you stop getting points. So you're like, oh my God, and we're playing like shit.
Yeah.
So it's not even like you're watching Como who lose 2-0 and you're like, but it was a 4-3.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So now is that time where Milan fans can't get excited about watching a game because they're either going to drop points or they're going to watch the most boring game of football they've ever watched in their lives. Milan had an XG of 0.85 in this game, and Verona had an XG of 0.5.
This was a particularly negative one, because in the other
Totally.
games where Milan dropped points to these minnow sides, they dominated possession and missed a lot of chances. So this was a particularly bad performance. However, it doesn't take much going back to think about where Milan fans are coming from, man, where Milan are coming from. Last season, Milan finished in 8th.
Yeah.
With 63 points. They had 11 losses, 9 draws, and 18 wins. 2 managers and a whole lot of bullshit.
How many?
man.
Repeat the amount of losses, please.
11 losses.
11 losses for
11
Milan
losses.
last season.
Yes. Honestly, if you had to say Milan were going to this season comfortably finish in top 4 and at some point even compete for the league, and you as a fan are going to have hope that there's potential to win the league, you would have snatched that opportunity of the table.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's not going to be perfect and it's not going to be
Absolutely.
pretty, but don't feel that you are entitled to your team playing an attractive brand of football.
No, Milan.
You know, you're not entitled. That
Guys,
right now, this is a period of stability for Milan.
we are Milan fans. We have seen the top of the club and we've seen the bottom of the club. We've been through a 10-year banter era, and then Pioli came along and made us dream, and then we lost him and it all went to shit again immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
The second Pioli was gone, Milan finished 8th again. Now there's someone to pick us back up and at least transition us into
That's it.
a project that's coming up. But finding stability back in the top 4 is where Milan need to be. Inter got Spalletti before they did all this, and they had top 4, whatever. The problem, I think, is fundamentally what is pissing Milan fans off is Allegri doesn't have to play a boring style of football. He'll play a pragmatic style of football. But if you look at when he had Juventus, the passages of play, even when he had Morata leading the line, when there was Tevez leading the line,
He
when
had,
there
but
Cuadrado
that's
doing all that.
exactly it.
But
He had better players.
He had better players.
Yes.
Now, when was the last time one of Milan's attackers scored a goal? March 1st. Pulisic, 15 games without a goal. Leao, his last goal was March 1st. Jimenez, he came on. 4 passes in 27 minutes.
Yes.
He barely got the ball.
You look at what he's working with here. Fulkrug was an emergency signing who wasn't really inspired to begin with as a signing. Nkunku and Jimenez are big money flops with all the pressure in the world on them. And that's what he's working with. You know, you have Pulisic who's off form and Leao who has something going on. But that's it, man. When Allegri has had good players, that's the best point that you've made so far this episode, bro. When Allegri has had good players, his team played brilliantly.
Yes.
And they dominated.
Because he
That's
gives
it.
them liberty.
Yes, that's it.
And he's a cool guy in training, gets everyone becomes close, they become friends,
And
whatever.
he came to a Milan that did not have European football.
Leao and Pulisic not playing well together is on Leao and Pulisic. No one else.
Tyson says March 1st is a crazy stat.
Yeah, thank you. I thought it was crazy as well. But just to re-emphasize Allegri's style of football, Milan have had 13 one-goal wins this season, so by a margin of 1 goal 13 times. 8 of them 1-0s, most in Europe's top 5 leagues. We know that stat. We've seen that every single time when he was at Juve and
Funnily enough,
when he was at Milan in the past.
even under Pioli. Milan did that stat.
The last 8 games of the season, all 1-0 pretty much.
1-0. Yeah.
But just to re-emphasize a bit of a point on Allegri, where was I gonna go? I was gonna make a point that And people are comparing the season that Allegri had to his last one at Juve, where he started off so brightly and then he fell off towards the end. I would go so far as now, I know it's something I brought up in the past and said that I agree with it. Now I disagree with it. Look, man, Milan hadn't lost a game since match day 1 of the season. Milan went undefeated. Undefeated. Milan had only lost one game until, 6 match days ago?
Yeah.
7 match days ago.
Yeah.
You know, when the league becomes more competitive and everyone starts fighting for every point. So I just want to go back and disagree with that point. The layout.
That you're fighting his demons live on air.
Leao had a few jeers from the crowd again and seemed to fight Allegri for
He asked them,
being
why me?
substituted.
Why me?
Yeah.
Because you're not playing well, man. I get you
Exactly.
played the pass to Rabiot. It was nice. Well done. But other than that, it's not that good, man.
I remembered what point I was going to make. I'll stop waffling. The fact that Allegri went that long without a loss and racked up so many important wins against top teams without a number 9, without someone that scores goals, without any players that he wanted apart from Rabiot is fucking ridiculous. Now imagine, next season, Mr. Money Man comes up to Allegri and goes, "What's up, eh?"
This is Furlani.
This is Furlani. Sup,
What's up,
eh? And he says, "Look, we made Champions League. This is your budget to play around with. 150 million. Go get yourself the players that you want."
That's idealistic though, because in reality, Tare is there, and apparently the whole summer transfer market situation, the whole winter transfer market situation, Allegri was told that there was no budget, and then he saw that there was a massive bid made for Mateta behind
It's
his back.
idealistic, but one thing that I always say about this ownership is that from season to season, they always corrected incorrect approaches that they were taking.
It's just wildly inconsistent though. They don't really leave me with much faith. There are so many pros, man, like renewing important players or making big sales or bringing in Allegri, for example, realizing that going for foreign managers was not the way to go and stabilizing the team, whatever. But in reality, man, this management took a Scudetto winning team. They kind of dismantled it, man.
Yes.
And there's a grander point over here. They waste a lot of money, man.
They do.
They waste a lot of money on bullshit, man.
They have wasted a lot of money.
Now, hopefully, I'm hoping that Tare kind of changes this trend, but the Nkunku signing is unforgivable.
The Nkunku signing is...
It's unforgivable.
I'm still waiting on Nkunku, personally.
I don't know.
I'm still waiting on Nkunku.
You have to, at this point, wait on him. What are you going to do?
There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
But my point is fundamentally, and especially, Milan hired a sporting director, which is something Furlani was adamant, we don't need a sporting director.
Yeah.
Now they hired a sporting director. They're like, we don't need to pay managers. We can pay them under 1 million a season. They're paying 6 million a season for Allegri. You know? We don't want Italian managers, we want foreign managers. They got Allegri. It feels like they're constantly, at least it's not like fucking Spurs' ownership. They never own up to any mistakes and they keep making the same mistakes over and over. At least there's a pathway for growth, and it seems like they're catching on to it a little bit. Yes, Nkunku was 40 million and it was a panic buy because Tare came in late throughout the summer. They prioritized other positions over the striker, and then Milan came into the season.
Allegri doesn't even use, man. It's so messed up. It's such a bad sign.
But that's where Allegri and them fucked up as well, because he started Leao in that position, and no matter what, that's where he was going to play Leao. That is where Allegri was going to play Leao. He wasn't going to play him as a winger.
Because he'll never play Leao or Nkunku as a winger in his system. That's not how he plays.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway.
Signed Castro and Keane or some shit like that. Just a note on Gift Orban. That fucking asshole.
Nate, we need to pull up this video, man.
Yes. Gift Orban. So I can't say exactly what happened and what didn't happen because
It's all hearsay.
Reports, it's hearsay. There's a video of the action. So after the game, Gift Orban is apparently in his car, and a father or whatever. The panic in Nate's face is crazy. If you want, you can go do it.
I'm not sure I know it though.
Excellent. Well, whatever.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll try to find it here.
So basically, to cut a long story short, a fan knocks on Gift Orban's car, says, "Hey, can you take a picture with my kid?" Orban says, "No, I'm going somewhere." Tries to speed off, and someone hits his car.
To tell him to slow down, right?
Someone hits his car, apparently to tell him to slow down. Someone could also hit his car because Orban missed a big chance in the game. We don't know what the actual reason was that someone hit the car, but he was speeding in an area where there were kids and people, whatever, so I wouldn't be surprised if someone hit his car because he was speeding.
Yeah.
Gift Orban gets out of his car and starts punching the supporter, and they get into this physical altercation. Firstly, I don't think it's disrespectful for anyone to ask for a photo after a game outside the pitch. It's exactly the accurate setting for someone to do something like that. And secondly, but he hit my car. What does he expect? We expect you to be A, good human being and a bigger man, and B, a professional. You're a footballer in the Serie for Hellas Verona, man. What the fuck are you doing? Getting out of your car and punching a fan? How ridiculous is it that we're even pulling up a video of a Serie A player attacking a fan, man? How stupid is that?
No, it's bonkers. I mean, and he's still young, man. He's still young. He's 23 years old, and I guess it's just poor judgment from his end, man. I mean, it's a personality issue, and that kind of explains why such a talent, because he's a good player, man, has been moved around
kids,
so much.
Look at the kids.
If you hear this video, bro, there are children actually crying and shouting. It's actually very distressing. Put it on, Nate. That would be their hero.
Literally. He went to grab the sign. What the hell are they? It's WWE, man.
Gonna fucking smack him across the head.
Exile him immediately. You'd sell him immediately. Would you do that?
He's on loan, I think.
I'd get rid of him.
I don't know if they
I
have.
don't care.
That's not the example. And look, this is a club that's used to gentlemen like Pazzini and Luca Toni. You know what I mean? But anyway, he has apologized since. I'm going to read his apology over here. I wish to sincerely apologize to all the fans for my behavior. I understand how important your support is, and I'm sorry if I ignored those who asked for photographs and autographs. You deserve respect, and at the moment I let you down. I am also profoundly sorry for how I reacted. There is no excuse for having lost control, and I take full responsibility. I promise to learn from this error and do my best. The fans are a fundamental part of this club, and I appreciate the passion and loyalty that you show every day. I'll work hard to win back your trust, not just with words, but with action. Thank you for your continued support. I remain fully focused on giving my best to the club, even every time I step foot on the pitch.
Do you want?
They have an option to buy of 8 million euros. I doubt they're activating that.
Especially from Serie B. Well, they do get a parachute payment. They've been in Serie A for a while, but
I don't from Hoffenheim.
I don't think it's a good idea to redeem someone like that, man. He can get you a 9-match ban any second. This guy, you don't know what he's gonna do.
Even I know this is a bit more trivial, but his social media posts are strange. Like, why has he got his ass out twerking on the camera? What's he doing? Like, I don't know. Anyway.
And why is he lying about his height as well? That's what I want to know. Everyone knows he's not 5'9".
Yeah.
Bizarre. But anyway, Verona find themselves in 19th on 18 points, tied with Pisa in dead last. Maybe I would punch someone too if I were in that situation. Milan find themselves in second on 66 points. However, for some odd reason, this graphic is now telling me Milan are third, tied on points with Napoli. We have established that it's goal difference from the direct encounter, right?
Yeah. So we'll have to look at the fixtures. I mean,
but on yours it says Milan second. Yeah,
don't worry, let's have a look.
But the source I have, I trust yours more than it.
So the last Milan-Napoli was
2-1 and 1-0.
So then it would go to goal difference.
So it would go to goal difference. Milan have a better goal difference. Milan in second. Owned Tice.
Over
To you, brother.
Yes, and speaking of Napoli, we are moving on to them. And it's very important to say that before this game in the presser, Conte said second is the first loser to motivate his players. Something he said before, so there was absolutely no need to say this, especially after, the fact that the best thing they can get at this point is second. And their coach is saying, second is the first loser. Anyway, listen to this. Napoli had not lost at home in Serie A since the last time they faced Lazio, which was in December 2024. Lazio have won the last 4 visits they had to the Maradona.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they have Napoli at home figured out, man. And Lazio
2024 is crazy,
Yeah. Lazio finally have a sponsor. I don't know if you noticed. Polymarket, and it's the 7th most lucrative in the league, apparently.
Polymarket's cool, you know what it is?
What?
You can bet on the most
Crypto, right?
No, you could bet on the most hilarious things on Polymarket.
Yeah.
So you could bet how long it'll take Bad Bunny to walk onto stage to accept his award if he wins. So people are like, okay, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Will Trump get impeached before 2027, for example?
Is that where people say, will Trump say the word China?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Bro, you could bet on the most bizarre things. I can't believe
hilarious.
I'm not on it, to be honest.
It's apparently only been made legal recently in Italy, because it was kind of blacklisted before. But anyway, it was Vanya, Milinkovic, Savic in goal for Napoli in their 3-4-2-1 formation with Belkama, Bongiorno and Oliveira as the back 3, Politano on the right, Spinazzola on the left with Anguissa and Lobotka as a double pivot, De Bruyne and McTominay playing behind Højlund. For Lazio, it was Motta in goal in their 4-3-3 formation with Tavares and Lazzari out wide, Romagnoli and Hila at the back with Taylor, Cataldi and Bazic in the middle, Cancellieri on the right, Zaccagni on the left with Tijani Noslin starting up front.
That's more like it.
Yeah. Lazio actually won 2-0 with early and transitional efficiency despite only 33% ball possession. They scored the first goal in the 6th minute through Cancellieri, who finished first time from 8 yards after a left-sided combination which saw Zaccagni and the Taylor cutback linking up really well. Zaccagni had a lovely touch to delete Belkema, and building up to this goal as well, Hila just charged forward and joined the midfield, taking a man out of position. It was a really nice goal, very well worked, really clever. In the 30th minute, Noslin was fouled by Lobotka to win a penalty after a mistake by Bongiorno, who hoofed the ball into him, and he ended up 1-on-1. Vanya actually saved it as Zaccagni went left and he tracked it. The ball spilt back to Zaccagni, who had an open goal. He leaned back and he skied it. He skied the rebound for Vanya to taunt him right after.
Terrible miss on the second strike.
It was Bazic who doubled their lead in the 57th minute, who converted centrally after Tavares' transition run and cross following another mistake by Bongiorno. Cancellieri had a mishit shot that turned into an assist for this one. Lazio generated much higher quality chances than Napoli. Lazio had 14 shots, 7 of them were on target. Napoli had 12 shots with none of them being on target. The game was effectively decided by Lazio's clinical finishing and Napoli's lack of tempo and penetration, not to mention the individual mistakes that they made. It was tough, man. It was really rough.
It was a tough... I think this is one of the worst games I've seen by Napoli from like how frustrating it was for them. Because nothing seemed to be working for them. I think they were frustrated by Lazio. I thought Lazio were really organized. And I think Lazio at the moment are just the biggest pain to play against, because what the situation for Lazio has done is it's created an us versus the world. We don't even have our fans with us.
Yeah.
So there's this sense of camaraderie in this team and of togetherness that you don't really see among other teams in Serie A. It's Sarri and his team, I mean, it's reminding me of Mourinho, like a Mourinho team where there's that kind of relationship with the players and that us versus them mentality.
It's almost culty, because even the fact that Sarri's still there is massive and he's leading through example.
Yeah.
And even the fact that in the media he's saying we'll see what the president wants for next season. You know, he clearly wants to be there and that inspires the players.
Yeah.
He's their Charles Manson, man.
What do you mean he's like Charles Manson?
They're willing to fucking do anything for him.
Okay. All right, there were like 1,000 people you could have said before Charles Manson, but Charles Manson came to mind.
Yeah.
Cool.
Napoli, in their approach, were not very good this game. They used 2 10s with De Bruyne and McTominay, but the vertical speed was really lacking and the spacing between the lines was off. And sometimes it feels like, bro, do you remember that game on your phone, football, where you kind of
Yes.
move
Yes.
and you could just hit the ball from wing to wing?
Yes.
Like, that's how Napoli try to play.
Nah, it's like they're at a concert. They're just waving their phone
Yeah,
left to
yeah,
right
yeah.
like that.
Lazio, on the other hand, were playing with these quick midfield triangles of Cataldi, Bazic and Taylor, wide progression with Tavares and Lazzari bombing forward. Zaccagni was really inspired as well this game, despite missing the penalty. It was night and day, man. Not to mention the pressing traps and Noslin as an outlet. He was really good this game.
Nothing was really good.
While Højlund is probably still somewhere in Hila's pocket, man.
I was gonna say, I mean, this is the second game in a row now. We've seen Højlund get completely pocketed. Last week it was by Troilo, and this week it's by Mario Hila. Now, Hila, we're massive fans of Hila. I think he's top 3 centre-backs in the league. Like, he's a phenomenal centre-back. He's aggressive, he's accurate, and it's like he takes pre-workout before every game because he just goes out there like an animal. Then again, to take a little bit away from the defenders and put it a bit on Højlund, everyone's saying, okay, but Højlund can do what Lukaku did last season. Oh, but can he? Question mark. Lukaku is a very unique player with some of the best hold-up play I've seen. And that paired with his strength made him a superhero. I remember having Frank Kessie at Milan. And even if you bring in someone with similar characteristics, no one can ever be Kessie for Milan. I don't think anyone can ever be Lukaku for Napoli. And I think if they had someone that could hold his own and be more of a physical presence against the backline of Lazio, then perhaps McTominay could get a clear opportunity or a clear strike at goal, or even De Bruyne, and they've both got rockets in their pockets. That said, Cataldi also operates a little bit as a half-back in some areas, so he also drops in, and it's a way more condensed. It's almost like a back 3 at times. So, of course, Højlund's isolation didn't help in that case.
Yeah, fair enough, brother. This is the first home defeat of the season for Napoli. They hadn't lost at home in 495 days. Massive, man.
What? Say again?
They hadn't lost Napoli at home in 495 days. That's crazy. You don't even realize.
Jeez, man.
Like when we're grinding and prepping and doing all this stuff, you don't realize how long it's been since Napoli actually lost at home in the league. Yeah?
It was probably Milan the last time, because Milan had a weird thing with beating. No, Lazio.
It was Lazio.
You said. Can I read some comments?
Please.
So Tyson said, "Sarri is just that guy." Totally. And he said Sarri did this mentality with Napoli versus Juve those days and was only a few points off of a star-studded Juve. He got so close. I remember how close he got and how Juve managed to turn it around in that Higuain Napoli season. That was peak Serie A. I know Milan weren't going through the best period then.
It was fun, man.
I actually managed a restaurant that was opposite one of the head of Napoli supporters club in Malta, and I used to go outside at the back of the restaurant to smoke cigarettes, and he'd be there, garage open, Maradona kit signed there, Insigne kit signed there, Hamsik kit signed there, and he'd just have the game on over there, washing his car and then like watching football. And we'd get to talking quite a bit, so I pretty much got updates from him every Sunday for how the league was going.
That was your podcast.
That was my podcast.
That's amazing.
Daniel says, "Hey guys, had to get some sleep before tonight's match. We'll catch up later on hearing how Inter won and everyone else lost." Championes, ole, ole, ole. Congratulations, honestly. Well, what is there more to say? See you next season, bro. And then Daniel also goes to say, Lukaku betrays a club that backed him. What a shocker. Guy is the biggest mercenary in football history. If there's a bridge, Lukaku's
gonna burn it. Yeah, he loves burning bridges, Lukaku. Yeah. Yes, I have another fun stat for you, brother, over here. What a lucky day, Ostia. We have Milinkovic-Savic, who saved another penalty this time, and you're probably wondering, which two goalkeepers since 2022 have saved the most penalties? And I have that stat for you over here.
Oh, can I guess?
Guess. So
Donnarumma in Serie A?
No, in
the world?
No, in Europe's top 5, yeah.
Donnarumma?
No.
What?
No.
Do I know them?
I don't know if you know this guy. He's not a name that I'm very familiar with.
It's not Donnarumma.
No.
That's bloody bizarre.
He plays in La Liga. This guy.
Oh, it's not so it's not Courtois.
No.
It's not Ter Stegen. Is it Unai Simon?
No, it's Getafe's goalkeeper, man. Getafe's goalkeeper, David Soria, alongside Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, have saved the most penalties since 2022.
Shout out my boy
8
Soria.
penalties. 8 penalties saved. It's meant.
Christ.
Yeah. Flat, slow, and predictable. No, not your girlfriend, Napoli. It's absolutely unbelievable, man, how poorly they played. But I guess this makes sense because they kind of mirrored, what Milan went to, but they lagged one step behind. Where you get this game that's extremely disappointing and it ends your title push, then you have that hangover game after. And this was Napoli's hangover game. They'll be fine. The media, of course, is extremely critical of De Bruyne's performance, especially.
I was about to mirror that a bit.
He and Anguissa were subbed off at halftime. This Napoli newspaper said that Anguissa looks more like his pompous cousin right now. Højlund was cancelled out by Gila. McTominay doesn't touch the ball for a half, and when he drops back, he doesn't do much more. In defense, Buongiorno was guilty twice, and the others do not help him whatsoever. Milinkovic-Savic is the only one who manages to keep the score down, and the worst part of it all is how the tactics have dried up so much. Conte's intensity and aggressiveness have been transformed into rugby football, made up of lateral passes, or more often backwards, or handball, a continuous bypass from one side to the other, with the only real outlet being the cross.
Spot on,
right?
Spot on, totally. I think the biggest losers would be Buongiorno. I thought he was super error prone in this game and just clunky. 52 pace on FIFA kind of clunk. You know what I mean, bro? When they're always a second behind, just not immobile, and passes never come out the way you want them to. But I think De Bruyne is a bit of a rhythm killer. Napoli have often been criticized for the past 3 seasons for lacking pace. For the past 3 seasons. Since, of course, Vergara's injured, Neres is injured, and that was huge for them, because if Napoli had Neres all season, it would be a very different story. They got rid of Lang in January, which I still, till today, say I don't know if that was the right call, considering the depth issues they've had.
Yeah.
And then they have Alisson Santos, which understandably they're using him to bring on some spice and bring on a bit of flair later on the game.
Adds something, man.
But at this point, you need to start him. I don't care.
Yeah.
You need to start him immediately, and you need to get De Bruyne off the pitch.
Fair. I mean,
you start him and you play him for 90 minutes, man. You have to.
I don't know how effective it will, because I like the idea of bringing on energy and someone who's fearless and young against tired legs. Someone who may be starting, if you start a young player, there's that whole obstacle, that whole mental hurdle they have to cross. If you come on, you're against tired players, you're a bit more fearless, you know what I mean?
Yes.
You have an advantage over your opponents.
That's a luxury. So that is a luxury that if you have a player like Alisson Santos who you start off the bench, it's because you have room to play. You have a different option starting. Well, sure, that's what De Bruyne is, but it isn't working. It's not working. I've never seen, at least obviously the season, but I have never seen Napoli look better with De Bruyne on the pitch. I don't think it's worked. I think every time De Bruyne was unavailable or they had someone else playing, they looked better. Now maybe I have cataracts or whatever, but I don't think so.
Turns out when he rocked up Chubby to pre-season, that was actually quite telling. Remember, we're like, now he'll burn it off, he'll be fine.
Because difference is people compare it to the Modric signing, but it's not similar to the Modric signing, because Modric didn't have fucking 3 injuries that each kept him out for a season. The De Bruyne's a bit weathered, the poor guy.
Yes. There are rumors of Roberto Mancini joining Napoli. As Conte and the Italian national team continue to gain traction. Of course, it's all rumors for now. There's nothing concrete. Of course, the season isn't even finished yet. But they actually asked Mancini about it specifically. And he said, Napoli have a great coach. He has had an extraordinary championship. And in life, you never know. Things change quickly and anything can happen. Like, I could throw up right now. No, he didn't say that. He said, and then they also have a great president. This is where you see the flirting. They have a great president. It was not easy to win 2 Scudetti in 2 years, especially outside Milan and Turin. So I think they will continue like this. Okay, so a bit of mixed signals over there from Mancini. We'll see.
Yes, but like, surely it's Italiano. Surely.
I see that.
Surely it's Italiano. It has to be. It has. Conte goes to Italy, and Napoli get Italiano. Bologna get the next hot shit in town.
They get Motta back.
You know,
So Napoli, brother, are in 3rd. They are 8 points clear of 5th, while Lazio are in 9th. They are 7 points off of a Conference League spot, but the biggest part of their season is still to come. It's that Coppa Italia semi-final against Atalanta.
Did you have commission for viewership on that Coppa Italia?
I was very excited, brother.
I'm excited too. Juve 2, Bologna 0. Obviously, I have to start this off with addressing the tragic news of Alex Manninger, former Juventus goalkeeper, along with a goalkeeper, I believe he was even with Udinese. At a point, he was an Arsenal goalkeeper as well. Tragically lost his life in an accident earlier last week. And Juve, being a club that values players from their past, etc., honoured his life quite beautifully at the start of the game. You could see Buffon with tears in his eyes. You could see Bonucci with tears in his eyes.
Bonucci.
They looked distraught. And I mean, obviously, this was someone that they shared a locker room with for all those seasons, particularly for Buffon. He was his vice, you know what I mean? So yes, very, very tragic. Beautiful memorial though.
He played for Juve between 2008 and 2012. He racked up 27 appearances. In Serie A, he has also featured for Udinese, Siena, Bologna, Torino, Fiorentina. He was quite a seasoned Serie A vet. But of course, he's a very well-travelled goalkeeper as well, featuring for the likes of Salzburg, Arsenal, Espanyol, and as you said, Liverpool and Augsburg.
Yep, gone too soon. But let's get into Juve Bologna. Juve were coming off their away 1-0 victory over Atalanta. They're on a 3-match winning streak and 7 undefeated. They miss Vlahovic, Milik, Perin, Adzic and Cabal. It's good to mention, of course, and I will remind you that Juve play Milan next Sunday at 8:45, being just 3 points behind them. In Serie A, Bologna were on a 2-match winning streak, beating the poorly Cremonese and Lecce, but earlier this week they got eliminated from the Europa League against Villa on a 7-1 aggregate. They missed Chazale, Skorupski, Dominguez and Dallinga. The previous encounter between these two sides was an away victory for Juve with the score of 1-0. 3-4-2-1 formation for Spalletti's men, with Di Gregorio in goal and the backline of Kelly, Bremer and Kalulu. Cambiaso was on the left, Home was on the right, with a double pivot of McKennie and Locatelli, with Boga and Conceição flanking Jonathan David. 4-3-3 for Italiano's men, Ravaglia in goal, backline of Zortea, Helland, Lukumi and Miranda, midfield 3 of Som, Freuler and Pobega, with Orsolini and Cambiaghi flanking Castro. Juve took the lead inside 2 minutes when David headed in from a Kalulu cross, immediately putting Bologna on the back foot. The hosts dominated the first half and should have added more, with Conceição denied twice and a powerful effort from Home crashing off the crossbar. That was a half volley. It just rattled the crossbar. It would have definitely been the goal of the week.
Yeah.
David fired narrowly wide at a point. Juve were missing chance after chance, but not many clear-cut chances. Like, all the chances came at a bit of an angle or a bit too far out or a bit of a crowded situation. It was never 100% a concrete chance. Bologna offered nothing before the break, aside from I think Orsolini tried an overhead kick at a point.
Oh man, Orsolini was trying. He'd do a step over when he gets the ball. He tried to
He was the only one playing in
or Sonaldo, you know.
Or Sonaldo. Yeah. Early in the second half, Juve made it 2-0 as Thuram headed home from a McKennie assist. A really rare goal by Thuram this season, but that killed the game completely. Rowe hit the post from close range at the end. Should have really done better at the far post, man.
It was an awkward one. He was kind of slipping, stretching to get it, but
he had a player on him and he clarted him after he hit the ball. But it wasn't a good day for Bologna, and Juve actually won this game quite cleanly without needing to hang on to a 1-0 advantage or anything of the sort. Like they did with Atalanta last week. But they made quick work of Bologna. And they do have one leg into the top 4 pool. I mean, thanks to their consistency, with those 7 games in a row undefeated, and Como's recent fumble, they've created this 5-point gap. And it looks like, aside from the fact that I think they're going to get Champions League because they're 5 points ahead of Como now, who are losing game after game. They're getting better.
They are getting better.
Spalletti, and it's looking worrying in that way. At how Spalletti has taken this role and shown us exactly what he was showing us at Napoli, that he can be, with a decent squad, he can run teams over.
And once you give him time to really implement his system, it's only going to get better, and that's what we've seen, man. This game was virtually flawless, man, from Juve's end. I mean, they were quite wasteful, and I think Jonathan David isn't exactly the ideal striker for what they're trying to do. And for me, it feels like Jonathan David's always one step behind. It's a bit frustrating. His movement's good, but he's just one step too late. But Bremer, for example, was absolutely outstanding. He had Castro in his pocket the entire time. Kalulu was great, masterful, quite frankly. You look at Emil Holm, who has come in and fit like a glove. If only he can stay healthy. I saw him take a bit of a knock this game. I hope he's fine. Well, actually, I hope he misses one game.
One
the
game.
Next one, against Milan. That's it.
That's all he needs to miss.
Because he's very injury prone, and
he's on Bart's side. Huh? He's on Bartazagi's side.
Yeah, we've been singing his praises for a while, Holm, but he's so injury prone that he never actually gets his consistency going. I thought Locatelli, man, had another good game, and recently I came to realize that Locatelli wasn't called up for Italy when Spalletti was the manager. Do you remember that?
Yes.
We haven't said this on the
Yes,
We've spoken
I did.
About Politano.
No, I said Locatelli.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
But
thought I knew that.
I found it hilarious.
Yeah.
I found it hilarious that he never called him up for Italy, and he's so reliant on him in midfield.
He's playing so well, Locatelli now, and they finally as they've finally found his role, because before it was always no, he's a mezzala, no, with the Italian national team, let's play him as a mezzala. Literally, Milan when he was at Milan was the same thing, sometimes playing as a regista instead of Biglia. Remember that?
No matter where he was playing, they're like, that's not his position.
But now he is a regista. That's his position.
I had said it's crazy that he's making a 3 at the back work, and he's making Locatelli in the heart of a midfield.
Yes,
work.
literally.
But on that note, Spalletti with his actual system, okay, there's a bit of a tweak with sometimes he goes 3 at the back, sometimes he goes 4 at the back. This week we saw him with 2 out-and-out wingers, not Yildiz who drifts in and plays a bit behind the striker or whatever. He had the left winger and the right winger in Boga and Conceição, and that's the Spalletti that we know and love. That's what I wish he had at Italy.
That's Callejon Insigne.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although, did he have Callejon? No, he didn't have Callejon and Insigne when he was at Napoli. That was Sarri.
Yeah.
That was Guevara and Politano.
Exactly.
Or even more so, Guevara and Lozano. Because Lozano
I wonder if he's still playing in Mexico.
I think he is. But a random thought that I had is, so obviously you mentioned Jonathan David's always a step behind. Sure, he got a goal, well done, whatever. You know who Spalletti has a really good relationship with that's not playing in top flight football anymore and is one of the best strikers in the world, no doubt. Victor Osimhen. And if, again, I'm going to repeat myself with the whole Milan situation that, the manager got them top 4, even though it was tight, it was close, whatever. It's imperative that Juve make top 4 because I don't think they have a clear sponsor, whatever. They don't make good money. So they need the monetization from top 4. They want to rebuild. They're talking about a rebuild. Juve being ambitious in the market. Goretzka. It's like, you're being ambitious in the market and you're recruiting from a retirement home.
No, but
Of has-beens.
they're great players.
But
bro.
whatever.
If they manage to get Bernardo Silva, Goretzka, or Lewandowski, one of those three, it would be massive for them. I mean,
sure, for a season.
yes, no problem. I mean,
It's not ambitious. It's what we see every
But-
year in Serie A. The signing of
but
37-year-olds.
it depends on the players they keep as well, because there are players who are young who could learn from these guys, who could be
Sure.
good for the future.
Sure. So
Um,
then they sell them to Aston Villa for
No, I
7
mean,
million.
yes, but
Get
they've also-
Osimhen. Get Osimhen.
You know how I feel about
Get
Osimhen, bro.
Osimhen.
I've literally said before that. Okay, so Juve, Osimhen as a profile does not typically attract Juve,
Mhm.
because Juve are very pin and proper. They're
Neither does a manager with a Napoli tattoo.
exactly, but they don't usually go for these trouble-making profiles.
Mm.
But you know how I feel about Osimhen. If I were the president of a club or the manager of a team, I would bring Osimhen in and I would spoil him rotten. I would tell him I love him every day. I'd fucking call him, tell him good night, man. You know what I mean? I would buy him things randomly. like-
You'd apologize to him.
he's so good. You want to keep him happy. I
He's
definitely.
mentally.
I'd talk to our social media guy every day. Like, don't. What are you making? Show me what you're making before you post it.
Send it to Osimhen. He has 10 rounds of changes on your
Exactly,
clip.
exactly,
Every single transaction. He has 10 rounds of changes. Alright, if he says no, you're fired.
Exactly.
Immediately.
No, I'd do everything in my power to land a striker like Osimhen.
and I think
he is
Juve should
so
do
complete.
that. I think Juve should do that. He knows the league. He knows the manager. He had his best season ever under that manager.
He
You
would
could
destroy
strike
everyone
a
at Juve.
deal with Galatasaray, tell them the
Can you
second
imagine?
Yildiz is 35, he's yours.
They
When
would-
Yildiz is 35, we'll give him to you.
What a deal. I also want to point out that Cambiaso, for the second week in a row, looked alright defensively.
Yes, he looked okay.
It was fine.
That's that. I think if Juve have a big mercato next year, not only can they battle for top 4, I think they can battle for the league. I think we're going to be talking about potentially Juve winning the Scudetto all summer, bro. And I think if it's true that they're looking to have an ambitious whatever market, then I think they can absolutely do it. They have one of the few managers that has won the league in the league. And they do have one of the best squads in the league.
They do. And it's
I
very
think they're
possible. Yes, they are there. There's usually a lot of movement in the market for Juve. But the important thing for them is that they realize that this is evolution, not a revolution.
Yes.
And this
Beautiful.
can be applied to every team. Napoli, Milan, Roma especially. Because if Roma decide to sell to get rid of Gasperini, I don't.
Ciao.
But we'll talk about them
So silly.
very soon.
Just a note on Bologna. Even I think the commentator said that there's a certain element of indifference in Bologna's game. To me, they look like they were tired from the Aston
They're
Villa
slow,
game.
man.
They
Yeah.
look tired from the Aston Villa game. I don't think an Italiano side can be indifferent at all. And I think with such an inconsistent season that they've had, they're not at the beach. You can't be at the beach if you've underperformed in a season. You can't. They want to end the season with as many points as possible. They want to make a case for themselves.
I think what they went through in the Europa League against Aston Villa was a little bit traumatic, to be honest. So obviously it's going to take a while to bounce back. And now they had two difficult well, they played Juve, and now they have to play Roma. So they're two tough games right after the trauma of losing to Aston Villa. How much? 4, 5, 6, 7-1 on aggregate? 7-1 on aggregate.
Can you scroll? Are they home or away in their last game of the season against Inter?
They are home.
Inter are going to
Emil
celebrate it. They're going to celebrate it in their stadium after Bologna fucked them over 2 Scudetti.
I think Inter will win it.
They'll win it
probably.
before, but that's when
Yeah.
the official celebration takes place, no?
No.
Last game of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
season.
yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. When it comes to Bologna, or when it comes full stop, Bologna find themselves in 8th place on 48 points, whilst Juve find themselves in 4th on 63. As I said earlier, they are 5 points ahead of Roma and Como.
Indeed. I say as I panic scroll. Okay, so Roma 1, Atalanta 1. What happened the night before this game? This is always an interesting thing. The night before the game, Conte says that his team are the first losers in the league if they get the maximum objective they can reach. And Gasperini, right before his match against Atalanta, the team, of course, that he loves so dearly, he burst into tears and stormed out of the presser when talking about Atalanta and Percassi and the relationship they had. Of course, there has been some conflict with Ranieri, who keeps speaking out of place, in my opinion, but and unnecessarily. But we will, of course, listen to what Mattias has to say about that and react to that. How did these teams line up? It was Villar in goal for Roma in their 3-4-1 formation with Mancini, Indica and Hermoso at the back, Celik and Rensch on the wings with El Ainawi and Cristante as a double pivot, Soulé and El Shaarawy playing behind Malin. For Atalanta, it was Carnesecchi in goal as they mirrored the same formation with Kolasinac, Jim City and Scalvini at the back, Bellanova and Zappa Costa on the wings with Ederson and Derun playing as a double pivot, Raspadori and De Ketelaere playing behind Kristovic. So Kristovic actually opened the scoring in the 12th minute. He finished centrally after Derun dispossessed Hermoso and played through a direct pass. It was a really good finish, man.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Caught him off guard and caught Villar off guard and
Solid.
finished to perfection.
A bomba clot of a finish by Kristovic. Bomba clot.
Hear me now. Hermoso would atone for his mistake in the 45th minute at the end of the first half. He volleyed in from close range after a range-headed assist from Celik's cross. The way that Roma packed the box after patiently playing the ball around was really impressive. It almost felt like a set piece from open play.
Yeah. What a volley, eh?
It was a lovely volley. No bullshit. Then his celebration was a little bit strange. I don't know what this was. It's like he pulled out 2 beating hearts. Do the thing. Yeah, there we go. Nice. A high-tempo 1-1 draw is
To
how
me,
I
it
would
looked like
describe
he was grabbing breasts. But anyway.
Roma produced the higher volume of shots. They had 19 shots, with 9 of them being on target, but Atalanta had 8 shots, with 2 of them being on target. Roma edged possession 53%,
Pursuit.
and they actually had 7 corners, but they failed to convert sustained spells against an in-form Carnesecchi, and boy, was Carnesecchi in form.
I just saw great 1v1 saves from both goalkeepers
Yeah.
in this game. Now, I have to say this, but last week, after watching a few Serie A games and then watching the Champions League fixture between Real and Bayern, and then I also watched, was it City against Arsenal?
After Milan Hellas.
After Milan Hellas, I was like, why am I such a romantic and looking at the past of Serie A and hoping it gets back to where it was and whatever and just sticking by it when I could be watching a lot more entertaining football. And I don't watch that football because I choose to watch this football, and I'm kind of having a bit of an existential crisis. But then I watched this game and I thought the quality was pretty high. I thought the goalkeepers had 2 really good performances. You see the organization of both teams. You see the way they try to build the ball out of the back. You see a team like Atalanta who, they've grown so much this season. A team like Roma with a striker like Malin. Those 1v1 saves by Carnesecchi and Villar. I thought this game was brilliant, to be honest. I really enjoyed it.
And as we've said before, bro, Serie A, it's not only about just hoping to get back to where they once were and whatever. Serie A has its own charm, right? I mean, it's, to me, we've discussed this before. To me, it feels more real than watching the Premier League. Now, I love watching the Champions League because the Champions League is fast-paced. It's the best from each country coming up against each other. But then domestically, man, for me, the Premier League is... It's a tourist attraction for most. Man, there are so many situations where fans can't even get tickets to go watch their own team.
Yes,
It's
I'm
fucked, you know
aware.
what I mean?
I'm aware.
Yeah, it's for me.
This
It's
is Prem hating.
fuck the no. It's all about Serie A, baby. But yes, so yes, Atalanta's plan was win the ball aggressively, attack vertically, and try to force these turnovers into mistakes while forced these turnovers from mistakes into goals, while Roma built up a lot through right-sided combinations featuring Malin, who, again, man, every week I feel the need to praise this guy, man. He is unbelievable. His movement is so
He's a
good. He
joke,
takes
eh?
the perfect amount of touches, and no matter where even if he moves into a tight angle, he forces rockets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he never shoots poorly.
No,
He's incredible, man.
he always gets a shot away on target. That's
Yes.
the minimum that Malin does, and he's just. You could give Malin the simplest of passes and he'll almost put himself through on goal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's so reliable up there, man.
Yeah, and the way Carnesecchi denied him in the 20-something minute was mental, like you said, bro.
Really good.
He jumped out, he made himself massive, and he stopped it. And then the other one, you spoke about the other one-on-one, was actually Ederson on the other end, who had this weird slow motion attack where he's running in almost uncontested, and Zvilar comes out, makes himself big as well. And to be honest, I think Ederson should have done better there, but it was still a great save by Zvilar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in the second half, to try to deal with Roma, Atalanta dropped dealer. They controlled phases without the ball. I lost my notes. Yes, what the hell was that point?
They dropped
deeper. They controlled phases without the ball, and Roma kept the pressure but lacked clear openings. While Roma really tried to create chances from crosses nowadays, man. And it's weird because I don't remember Gasperini being so reliant on crosses. I think maybe he doesn't feel like, or he feels that his team doesn't have enough quality to do what he wants them to do, so he ends up relying on crosses.
I think it's
and set
more
pieces.
about where they were being forced. Where
That's
they're
an
being
interesting-
forced. Like, I don't think that's the way they want to. I think they, with players like Sule, El Shaarawy and Malin, they want to be attacking the channels. And they want to get the ball central. But I think it's where they're being forced, to be honest. You know what Palladino sides are like, how they press you out wide and then double down with like Scalvini and Bellanova, for example.
Perhaps they get forced too easily, because even against the smaller teams, sometimes I feel like they rely too much on crosses, man. And like, you have a player like Malin up front. It's so easy to play a pass to him. He's gonna make the right run every single time. You know what I mean? I thought Sule and Malin are building a nice, better relationship, and I thought El Shaarawy linked up well with him as well at times. Shout out to Indika, who was dominant, while El Ainawi, he's being linked to bigger teams, El Ainawi, but in my
Really?
opinion, he hasn't. He shows flashes, but he's really not impressive to me. Can you check how many duels he won this game?
In this game.
Because bro, honestly, it's not. It didn't look good.
Ground duels 1 out of 6.
Okay.
Aerial duel 1s 0 out of 3.
Okay.
I don't see. Even when Roma signed him, and I looked at his play style, whatever, and his clips, he never stood out to me. He has flashes of like, he looks like he could get a goal from midfield as well. But to have the season that he's had at Roma, and people are talking about him upgrading from Roma, what the hell are you talking about?
No, it's weird to me. But I think we can actually move on to discuss a little bit the situation with that Matthias basically has to talk about. Let's have a look.
Matthias, take it away, brother.
Okay, here we go. Nice seeing you guys, or having this kind of a video note for you. We haven't really talked face to face at any point, so it's kind of strange to send some kind of video note in this way. But I hope you're doing fine. I have a little bit of a sore throat. You might be able to hear it. It's getting better. There's a slight sort of like whiny character to my voice. This weekend it sounded more like a whiskey, like I've been drinking too much whiskey, but unfortunately that's not the issue. I think I had COVID a while back, so that is sort of like the reason for it. In this sort of fans corner segment, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Roma season and a little bit more about the conflict between Ranieri and Gasperini. And I'll try to keep it brief, because I think when it comes to sort of like summarizing the Roma season, there's not too much to say. On the one hand, you could say that it's been a confusing season because we started out pretty good and then we sort of fell apart. We have had problems with our offensive during the entire season. and that really hasn't been fixed. I mean, Milan is a very good choice and has been really good since he came to the club, but we're still very sort of reliant on one or two offensive options. And in the fall it was Serie, and now in the spring it's been Milan, and I think they are scoring one or two goals per game, but we're kind of easy to read in that sense. During the first 4 to 5 months we had a very good defense, and that has sort of fallen apart a little bit as well, especially during the month of March, which was rough. And I have to admit, I've been a little bit sort of like disillusioned with the whole thing after that. Mainly because this is the kind of the same. We've had the same season for 4 to 5 years now. We're in the same spot. We're trying the same kind of things, and we don't really know whether we need to keep on pushing or whether we need to give up in some kind of sense. I think we need to keep on pushing, but it's kind of hard, since we also need to sort of like figure out a way to in order to keep on pushing, we need to kind of figure out a way to maintain this position with less expensive squad, so that we can get out of the financial fair play situation. And on top of all this, we now have some kind of internal conflict at the club as well. And I don't really know where to start about that. I mean, Ranieri took over the club last year and really sort of like saved the season and laid out some kind of framework or groundwork for what was to come. And he was apparently and obviously involved in the hiring of Gasperini. And has also sort of, those few times he has made public statements, he has sort of said that he doesn't really know what his role involves. He's a special advisor to the club now. He has also said that Gasperini needs to sort of like accept the fact that Roma are in a financial turmoil and under a lot of economic pressure, and can't really sort of, they can't go out and revamp the squad. This has to be done over a longer period of time. Which is a result of the fact that we have had so many sporting directors and so many manager changes, and needed to sort of revamp the squad over and over again and get rid of those bad decisions we made 2 years ago and stuff like that. The public statements from both Ranieri and Gasperini are kind of few, and you can easily find them. And you can say that, yeah, Gasperini wants to sort of avoid the blame for how the season has turned out, and Ranieri is saying, well, you've been involved in the decision making as well. You can't really sort of take yourself out of the picture here. What becomes confusing is the rumors that perhaps Ranieri is more important to the project than Gasperini is, which is very strange to me, because Ranieri is 80 years old, so I don't really know what he can do over the coming 4 to 5 years. It's also kind of strange because there's very little public clarity in what Ranieri does in the day-to-day operations. I mean, I adore him as a person and as a manager and what he's done for Roma and all that, but still it's kind of strange, because I get the feeling that he's some kind of, he's sort of like covering up a little bit for the fact that Friedkin, we seem to lack a kind of president figure who actually sort of takes responsibility of where the club is going long term. And since we don't have that, Ranieri is doing that instead, and covering up a little bit for Masara's situation and saying, well, this is what we have and this is what we need to do. And for me, it's like, on the one hand, it might be a smart thing to have what do you mean, like a popular public figure like Ranieri filling that position. But on the other hand, what are the owners doing? Because if the rumors and sort of suggestions are true that Gasperini is behaving badly internally at the club and stuff like that, to me that's a precedent situation, and something that should be handled at the very top of the organization, and not something that a special sort of semi-outside external person like Ranieri can be in charge of. And perhaps he's saying the things which he's saying, which is, he came out before the Pisa game and said that that Gasperini has been involved in all the acquisitions of players which has been done. And then Gasperini came out in the press conference and was displeased with the whole sort of situation, and then left after he got some critical questions about both Ranieri's statement and his time at Atalanta. 1 minute. Have to oil up the voice a little bit. I don't really know what to say. I mean, of course I like Ranieri more than Gasperini as a person, because I'm clinically sane. And also Gasperini has been in Roma for a year, and Ranieri has done so many great things for us as a club. And that team which Ranieri had, which almost won the Scudetto in 2010, is one of my sort of personal favorite teams of all time. So I hold a lot of that very dearly. But at the same time, I feel that it's very risky to try to switch manager again, and to also switch manager at this point, because I feel that almost the entirety of the top 7 of the Serie A has stagnated a little bit. You could argue that, of course, Como is doing very well, but they're a bit of an anomaly in many different ways. Inter has, under Kivu, managed to sort of like stay at their position without losing that much ground. But in my opinion, both Napoli, Milan, to some degree Juventus, Bologna as well, have sort of stagnated and not really taken the next step, which we might have expected them to a year ago. And the same can be said for Roma, which is a situation of like, is it a good idea to sort of give up this project at this point and try to find a new coach again? Because I don't really see any other coaches available which could do better things with this squad. And perhaps Gasperini just wants to get out, so he perhaps could be next in line for the Napoli job if Conte leaves. I don't know, but to me it feels like a situation. I wrote in the chat like a year ago or 1.5 years ago that it's kind of telling that Roma has had a sewer system since 500 BC, but the city of Rome lacks the basic capacity to get its shit together. And I think this is an aspect of this. I mean, we should have. This is a symptom of things we should have figured out a long time ago. A structure for the club, a strategy for what we need to do going forward, a kind of backup situation if the things we want to aspire to, for example, qualifying for the Champions League, if that doesn't happen, what do we do then? It seems like sort of we need to hold our ground and keep on doing what we're doing, even though it's frustrating. I don't want to say it, but it's very, very frustrating. Because I think that if we go into sort of change coach mania over the summer, then we will lose even more ground to the other top 5, top 6 sides, because I think they're in better position to sort of like do panic moves. Okay, this became a little bit long, but they are my basic thoughts, and I hope you gain something out of it, and I hope you have a great time. See you guys.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
What a nice guy.
Yes, I love him and so knowledgeable as well.
Yeah.
And there's pretty much nothing I would add to what Matthias has said. I think he hit the nail on the head on the balance between the roles. I understand the frustrations that obviously come with Gasperini if he wants to be more involved in certain acquisitions. I also find that Ranieri and the ownership have every right to be pissed off. However, if Gasperini is going out to the public and saying, "Oh, they're not listening to me," and kind of creating that that sense of internal conflict, like kind of not keeping household matters in the household but taking them out to the public. The fact of the matter is you have two extremely different characters in two wildly different roles, clashing publicly, and I think that was bound to happen when they got someone like Gasperini, particularly. And I also think the role of Ranieri is an interesting one because, like he said,
What is his role?
What is his role? His role is to be the hitman for the Friedkins, the scapegoat for the Friedkins, the person that has to face the media for the Friedkins, the person that can speak Italian for the Friedkins, the person that can seem likable for the Friedkins.
For the Friedkins.
For the Frickins.
Yeah. First of all, get well soon, Matthias.
Yes.
Second of all, I do agree with you, man. But I think right now Roma need to do whatever they can do to protect Gasperini and to keep him happy, because for a year zero, this is great. And
Yes.
like Matthias said, it feels like Roma have had the same season 4 to 5 years in a row now. You know, I think that he has a good foundation over here. He's got a great goalkeeper. They've got Milan up front, who's top tier. He's the second top scorer in the league. He's arrived halfway through the season. They have Wesley, who I think Gasperini can do great things with. Even Wrench is growing. Pizzilli is very exciting. Sule, once he gets past these injury problems he has, he can get going. I think that Roma have a very nice foundation at the back, especially Mancini and Indica. I don't know what the Hermoso situation is, but they have decent pieces, man.
Yeah.
My point here is that if you can get some form of stability and keep some of these important pieces, you can build a team despite financial turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
If you are constantly changing manager, imagine you change manager and the new manager that comes in doesn't deploy Marlin as well, or doesn't play with wing back, so you have to change. You know what I mean?
It'll be the same situation they had with De Rossi,
Mor-
Juric, and Mourinho.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
different profiled players.
I think continuity is key right now, especially when you look at the
for
fact that
sure.
they have a good manager. Man.
For
And
sure.
and they're making him cry.
No, Gasperini is one of a kind, and he's one of the managers with the most Serie A experience in the league. He's never won it, but he's overachieved with an Atalanta team that, when you're there for that long, when you're there at a club for 12 years or however long he was at Atalanta, he earned certain input. He earned certain input,
They
which he
backed
hasn't
him.
earned yet
Exactly.
at Roma. Now, because he earned it at Atalanta, should he automatically earn it at Roma? Roma's not the club where you just go in and you're merited for your previous work. You know what I mean? Roma's firstly the financial turmoil. Secondly, the city of Rome is just different in the way that it
Yes,
operates. You
bro.
need to I saw a clip last time which was Mourinho. So it was Roma winning a game, the fans chanting, and Mourinho egging up the fans to continue chanting. And that
Yeah.
was those three pieces all in harmony. And Roma haven't had that since Mourinho, man. A little bit of it with De Rossi, but that's all.
Yeah, and when Ranieri came back, but that was obviously always going to be temporary, right?
Yeah.
But bro, yes, I totally agree. I think right now that's what they need to do. They need to try to keep everyone as happy as possible and proceed, because this was actually a good season. A strange season and a confusing season, but a good one. So ideally, Ranieri can remain a legend with his mouth closed, and Gasperini can also maybe try not to bitch and moan as much and kind of
Exact.
understand what the situation is.
Sure.
Yes, Roma are currently, bro, in 6th. They are 5 points from 4th. Sorry, I had to really look at my handwriting there. While Atalanta are 7th, they are 9 points from 4th. Okay, brother, while you start the next one, I'm going to have to bounce.
Okay, no worries. The next game we're going to be covering includes the side that just keep making it a bit easier for Roma to catch up and for Juve to create that distance. It is Sassuolo 2, Como 1. Sassuolo were coming off a 2-1 home loss to Genoa and missed Berardi in this game through his suspension. That was the half-time red card that he got for the fight with Ellerson, I believe it was. Doig was also suspended, but Boloca, Romagna, Bacola, Pieragnola and Kande were injured. Como have had their second successive loss after losing to Inter last week and are now winless in their last 3, really crumbling at the finish line. Their only absentees were Addai and Sergio Roberto. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 2-0 victory for Como. 4-3-3 formation for Grosso's men with Turati in goal. Nice to see Turati back between the sticks. Koulibaly on the left, Valukovic on the right, and the centre-back pairing of Muharremovic and Jay Itzes, pride of Indonesia. Midfield 3 of Tordsvet, Matic and Kone with Inzola up front, Volpato to his right and Lauriante to his left. For Fabregas, it was the staple 4-2-3-1 for Como, with Bute in goal and the backline of Smolcic, Ramon, Kempf and Moreno. Kakare and Acuna on the double pivot with Paz just ahead of them, and Diao and Baturina on the flanks with Morata up front ahead of Duvikas this time round. So Sassuolo started sharply and they immediately threatened, but the game stayed tight and chaotic until the end of the first half. However, that is when things got very crazy. On 42 minutes, Sassuolo punished Como for committing too many men forward for a corner, and the simple counter-attack, which literally just saw, albeit Lauriante did very well to hold the ball up in his own box and then release Inzola, who found Volpato, who lobbed the ball over Bute gorgeously, but it was essentially two passes after a Como corner that got them clean through on goal, with Bute out in no man's land and Volpato's left foot just waiting to dink him. So it was clear and evident that Como committed way too many men forward, and it can't be that a simple clearance leads to a 2v1 situation. Barely 2 minutes later, Inzola doubled the lead after being played through far too easily once again, and this time it was Inzola who finished very, very cleanly. Como responded instantly before the break, so suddenly from a lack of action to everything happening in the space of 5 minutes. Nico Paz looped a header over Turati to make it 2-1. It was a really strange goal. It was an interesting goal by Nico Paz. He did well. I thought Turati perhaps could have done a little bit better, but a rare-headed goal by Nico Paz, so we'll take it. The second half then saw Como dominate possession but struggle to create clear-cut chances. This tends to happen since they don't have a proper number 9, like as in they don't have a target man. But then Paz was denied. He tried to lob the ball over Turati once again, but this time Turati produced a magnificent save off the line. And Jake, what did you make of Morata not committing to getting the ball over the line there?
I can't actually say what I thought of it on this podcast.
Sure, you can.
No, I can't.
Sure you can.
No, but he obviously has to show a little bit more determination than that. Let's just say that, because you have to throw your body onto that, right? There's a chance it's going to spill into your path. You have to force that into the back of the net.
Not only did he not use his balls, but it looked like he was evading entering that situation.
Yeah, he was scared.
And keep in mind, it's not like they were ahead or something like that. They were 2-1 down.
Exactly.
They're battling for Champions League. Morata's the most experienced player.
He's meant to be the leader. We've said this all season, man.
Morata, Grinta is what we know Morata for.
Yeah.
So why is he being pussy?
Yeah.
But anyway, this however, of course, Como you could see, and we said that there's a possibility that they are going to choke at the finish line because they're not as experienced as Juve, not as experienced as Roma. They're a young team. The manager is a young coach. The pressure is mounting, and this would be it'd be insane if they got Champions League. I think Europa League is where they should be right now technically, but this was a matchup from hell for Como.
Yeah,
because what do Como struggle at? So Como play with a high line. And you're okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Como play
lost my pen.
Jesus. Como play a high line, and Sassuolo have been really organized under Grosso, and they love hitting on the break. And where do Como struggle? Conceding on the break and in aerial duels and situations like that. So Como were overcommitting, and Sassuolo were just hitting them on the counter all day, every day. And in 3 minutes, they got those 2 goals, and they're like, you know what? Now we just need to pile men back, relying on the fact that Como, without a clear number 9 and without a target man, are a little bit uninventive at times, and that is the framework of how Grosso completely outworked or outmanaged Fabregas in this game.
Yeah. I think Grosso over here has put together a team that this is what we discuss pretty much every week, right? Which is defensively solid. Those 2 centre-backs are 2 titans, and even the full-backs are actually quite big, and they're quite a presence themselves
and
as well.
Matic, who operates as well, quite like a half-back.
Exactly, and Matic is the leader over there with Kone, who's excellent, and towards Vet as well. Physical, very physical team and very technical team at the same time. I think Como underestimated how mobile Inzola is. Because in those counter-attacks, he led the charge.
And Volpato as well. Because
Volpato.
they didn't have Berardi in this game, so perhaps they're like the risk is minimal here.
Yeah, but the transitional play, that's Sassuolo in progression, man. They are absolutely amazing to watch. Lauriante is so technically gifted that he can slip through any tight space. Yeah, at one point, was it Inzola who forced the second goal? No, sorry, the transition goal
The
where
first
they
goal,
built
where it
their
was
way
the
out
corner.
of the box.
That was
that was-
Lauriante in the box doing very well. And
He
then
did
he
so
released
well.
Nzola.
That was such a tight space, and he managed to wiggle his way out. It was absolutely amazing. And as you said, the fact that they have no reference point up front, Como, and they're playing with Morata, the scaredy cat Morata, up front, they can find it difficult to penetrate against a physical low block, quite frankly.
Yeah, totally. I thought it was very well executed by Sassuolo. I think Como can focus on the second leg of the Coppa Italia, which is happening right this second. We've got it on, by the way. The winners will face Lazio or Atalanta in a one-legged final. Of course, if Como win the Coppa, it safeguards them into the Europa League without needing to worry about finishing in 5th place or 6th place or however it would be. However, from the league, they are tied on points with Roma and may end up just making conference. If Lazio or someone, well, if Lazio win the Coppa Italia. Inzola got a goal and an assist in this game. He made good decisions in this game when he was called upon. A very mature performance for him. This is that one game a season, right, where we look at Inzola and we're impressed by him.
Exactly. I hope Fiorentina weren't watching.
God, I hope Jovic didn't score a hat-trick in fucking Malta's second division.
No, he had a really good game. He was impressive, to be fair.
And I'm so excited to see another season of Grosso. I hope Grosso stays at Sassuolo. If Grosso doesn't stay at Sassuolo, I hope he goes to... that's
Bologna.
a shout for Bologna.
Yeah,
That's a shout for Bologna. Grosso.
He's an impressive manager, Grosso.
Very. So Sassuolo find themselves in 10th on 45. Como find themselves in 5th on 58. Level on points with Roma and 5 behind Juve.
Precisely. Monday Night Mayhem. Lecce 1, Fiorentina 1. It was a surprising game, this one, because it featured a very technical goal by Jack Harrison.
Yep.
And a very passionate moment when Gabriel scored in the 71st as well. A lovely game of football.
Come on, Lecce.
And by lovely, I mean not very exciting, but it had that moment, that Gabriel was amazing. Yeah. Falcone was in goal for Lecce as they lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Vega, Siebert, Gabriel and Gallo at the back, Ramadani and Ngom in midfield, Pierotti on the right, Indri on the left with Koulibaly playing behind Khedira. For Fiorentina, it was a 4-3-3 formation with De Gea on goal, Gosens, Ranieri, Pongracic and Dodo at the back, with Endur, Fagioli and Mandragora in midfield, Goodmanson on the left, Harrison on the right, and Piccoli starting up front against his former team. Now, Fiorentina actually went ahead 30 minutes in when Harrison cut inside and bent a left-footed finish into the far corner from Mandragora's pass. Lecce responded after the interval and equalized in the 71st minute through Thiago Gabriel heading in from Gallo's corner. Lecce controlled the game. They had 55% of possession, 14 shots to 5, but wasted key chances late on, notably Pierotti from close range. The result kept Fiorentina 8 points clear from the relegation zone, while Lecce moved level with Cremonese. This is actually quite interesting. Cremonese and Lecce are moving. One gets 1 point, the other one gets 1 point. They're literally building up to that playout that we are looking forward to. The right side was Lecce's chosen avenue to attack from, brother. They used Vega and Indri to create overloads. They forced Endur to cover wide, especially after Gosens went off early, because Gosens got injured like 10 minutes into this game.
Yeah.
And was forced off injured.
So they attack down Gosens' side is what you're saying. Look, I think Lecce have shown us that they are fully capable of playing the top teams. They had a run-in of 5 games from hell, or 4 or 5 games from hell. What they had previously, I believe they had beaten Cremonese before that, so they got the result they needed over there. And now finally, after playing, I'm gonna pull up their fixture so I could remind everyone actually exactly who they had to endure. So they
had to go through hell.
So they played Inter, and then they played Como, and then they beat Cremonese. And then they had to play Napoli, Roma, Atalanta, Bologna, Fiorentina. Tell me what team battling relegation is going to get a decent amount of points over there. But they managed to, before that, they beat Cagliari, so that's a 6-pointer win. They beat Cremonese, that's a 6-pointer win. Now they managed to snatch a point from Fiorentina. Now, next up, they have Hellas Verona, then they have Pisa,
Massive.
and then, they have Juve, Sassuolo, and then Genoa. So, Lecce, I think Lecce have an advantage over Cremonese because they are capable of winning those 6 points.
They survived
and
this season,
they've tried. I say they survive as well.
And if they were going to get relegated, it would have been last season because till the very end. But
that was the Gianpaolo season, eh? Gianpaolo made them survive Lecce last season. Yes, man, it was Gianpaolo.
Was it Gianpaolo?
I think it was Gianpaolo.
I don't think so. That was it Gianpaolo.
It was.
When Koulibaly scored that goal, that was Gianpaolo on the bench. Look it up. It was against Lazio. Lecce Lazio. In the meantime, I can read some more tactical notes I have. Fiorentina built through Fagioli and used Piccoli as a central outlet. However, he was quite poor this game, Piccoli. I mean, 5 shots and didn't really threaten much.
Piccoli, where the hell is Moise Keane, man?
Yeah, where's Moise Keane?
Physical discomfort is what I read.
Physical discomfort. I heard he argued with an influencer called Penguin.
I saw it. I
Apparently
saw the argument.
Penguin's
I was like,
giving
you
him
fucking
shit
talk too much, bro.
for that miss against Bosnia. But anyway, Fiorentina's main threat came in transition. They should have doubled the lead through Piccoli, as I said. Lecce really improved after their 57th minute triple substitution when they brought on Banda, Stulic and Gandelman. They increased intensity and attacking numbers in the box. Set pieces were key for Lecce, as they tend to be. They won 5 corners and actually scored from one. They also had a Khedira header cleared off the line. And in the end, it was Fiorentina who ended up defending very tight and compact, while Lecce struggled with efficiency. 4 shots on target from 14.
Marco Gianpaolo.
It was Gianpaolo?
It was Gianpaolo.
So Gianpaolo saved Lecce last
Yes.
season. Why don't I remember that? Christ. Football, man, moves too quickly. Last season feels like 10 years ago.
It's true.
Yeah. I need to listen back to our old episodes.
I do it sometimes. Now I'll start listening to our prediction episode, I can start gearing myself
man,
for disappointment.
Episode, your voice is so much louder than mine. You have to listen to it like this.
Oh God,
those.
Nick, man, Jesus.
I think it was pre-Nick.
Nick.
I think, was it?
Bro,
Why did we have Nick? I'm not sure.
fuck
Whatever.
Nick, bro.
Whatever.
Fuck Nick. Fucking Nick's our old producer for anyone that's new here.
Fiorentina are fine, plus 8 points cushion. Survival is almost a formality, while Lecce we have to wait and see how they perform against Hellas and Pisa. But this game, to be honest, gave me some hope because I thought that they didn't panic. They were fine. Their set pieces are strong. They have a good foundation. They can turn a game and add pressure, man, with those substitutions. I really like Gandelman and Banda.
Yep.
The main problem that they have, in my opinion, is the striker.
Walid Khedira, right?
and Stulic. Not great.
You know who there should be?
Camarda, man. Camarda. He should be available right now. He might end up saving
for a while.
But he's back, apparently, bro.
Yes.
He's back and he will be available. He should have been available for this one.
Oh my God.
From what I read.
Give me a playout with a Camarda winner. Oi.
I'll double check the situation of Camarda, but
I'll start
where they are. Yes, Lecce 18th, draw with Cremonese and points, while Fiorentina are 15th, 8 points clear of the drop.
Welcome to the Milan Slayers. Udinese 0, Parma 1. Milan were like undefeated, then these 2 guys fucking rocked up. But anyway, Udinese were coming off a 3-0 thrashing of Milan in San Siro. They were also undefeated in 3 matches. But, however, they did miss Davis in this game, which is a huge blow. Zanoli, Bertola, and Zamora. Those, I feel like I called them injured every match this season. Parma are coming off back-to-back 1-0 draws against Lazio and Napoli. Not bad. And are now undefeated in 3. They missed Cremaschi and Friggin. The previous encounter between these 2 sides was, this is wrong. Was a 2-1 Genoa win. So I'll hold on to that and I might tell you later. But 3-4-1-2 formation for Runjai's men. Okoye in goal, a backline of Solé, Kabasele and Christensen. Kamara on the left, Ezibua on the right, with Piotrowski and Karlstrom playing in the double pivot. Zaniolo playing behind Atta and Ekkelenkamp, but it was more like Atta and then Ekkelenkamp were playing behind Zaniolo, who operated as a false 9. 3-4-2-1 formation for Cuesta's men, Zion, Suzuki in goal, backline of Circati, Troilo and Ndai, Del Prato on the right, Valerio on the left, double pivot of Caviglia and Keita with Bernabé and Strefezza playing behind Pellegrino. Welcome back, Pellegrino. The only goal of the game came early in the second half when substitute Nesta Elfej scored his first Serie A goal, receiving the ball with his back towards goal, turning sharply inside the box and finishing past Okoye for 1-0. Udinese pushed hard after that, hitting the bar through Gay. This is actually some move. They hit the bar through Gay and they missed a huge rebound chance through Zaniolo shortly after that. So this was the thing. Udinese, and this can just jump straight into the talking points to be fair. Parma were so fucking organised that they didn't allow Udinese any sort of passages of play. To make matters worse, Davis was injured, there was no reference point, so it was Zaniolo just dragging the ball forward into the brick wall of Parma. So the chances that Udinese were creating were fucking messy.
And
they created nonetheless.
Yes, bro. They were sporadic. Like it took Omar Solé having to dribble players down the middle and go wide to cross it to the far post.
Bro,
they had to be as unpredictable as possible because Parma were ready for anything.
Solé received the ball. It was rolling outside the box, almost like halfway between the box and the halfway line. He gets the ball, Solé. Dribbles 1, dribbles 2, plays a 1-2, receives the ball, is forced wide by the defenders but takes on 2 players, delivers a great cross that was headed onto the crossbar by one of the... I forgot who hit the crossbar. It falls to Zaniolo. Zaniolo has a second or a split second to react to try to head the ball goalwards, but he misses the target and the ball just bounces back to him off the advertising board, and in enragement at that second, he just cunts the ball into the supporters. A pure rage.
It was
But
hilarious.
that was the story. That was the story of Udinese in this game. Just getting the ball into the box with urgency, no real patterns of play, but they were so limited with Parma's defensive and compact setup that was the best that they could do without Davis in the team.
Yeah, straight up, man. And I think that Parma have put together a little low-budget monster of a team. Yes,
Low-budget Arsenal.
This El Fej is my kind of striker, brother.
He is your kind.
I love
fucking what?
He's
5.
He's like 6'5" or 6'6". Did you see how he turned?
I did see how he turned. He turned like you saw the Sidemen charity match.
I didn't see that.
You follow Italian Bash, that hilarious guy with the mullet and the mustache on TikTok.
I don't think so.
He played. He's hilarious. You know him for sure. We show each other's TikToks all the time.
Yeah.
He turns like El Fej, bro. He scored a hat-trick in this game in Wembley. It was insane.
My favorite Italian content right now is that guy who goes up to people and goes, are you gay or straight?
Gay or hetero?
Gay or hetero?
You've
seen
that? So funny.
Hilarious.
Everyone's gay. Everyone's gay.
Secondo me è gay.
Secondo me è gay.
Gay proprio.
Gay proprio. Per le scarpe.
Why? Because of his hair and he's bald.
Because of his shoes, they're Converse.
Like, what the hell?
So funny, man.
Hilarious.
It's just hilarious. If anyone ever asks you, is this person gay or straight, and they point to another man, just say gay. We need to keep this trend going forever.
It's hilarious.
Double it and give it to
Italy.
the next person.
So in Italy, this is like a crazy social experiment. Every man thinks that every man they see is gay, apparently. Hilarious.
Sure.
Yeah. Like Morata.
That's what you're meant to call him to start with. Do you think that El Fej, now I'm asking the wrong person because you for some reason are in love with El Fej.
Yeah.
Do you think El Fej
was named after Nesta or Bob Marley? Actually,
Great
Bob
question.
Marley. He was
Really?
named after Bob Marley.
Bob Marley's name is Nesta.
Look it up.
What?
Bob Marley's freaking name is Nesta.
Bro, your neighbors are making popcorn and it's driving me fucking berserk, man.
It's not popcorn, bro.
It's popcorn.
It's not popcorn. You're having a heart attack.
You're having a heart attack. Anyway, let's
whatever.
continue
Let's get
here.
back to the point. Your question about El Fej.
Yes. Do you think he's a temporary on-paper fix for Cuesta when Pellegrino is injured, or is he genuinely a good player that can compete for Pellegrino's place?
I think he can, not necessarily compete, but in certain situations you have two weapons. I think Pellegrino obviously is much more ahead in his development. I mean, Elfage is 25; he's no spring chicken, but Pellegrino is a better striker, and I'd rather have Pellegrino up front. The question is, do they cash in on Pellegrino? This is where what we were talking about last time.
There's a
When we're
30
saying
million
what's
signing there.
What's
25 million.
what's the project for Parma? How are they going to improve? If they sell Pellegrino and keep distributing money, Elfage can remain an option for them up front. And it's not. They also have the possibility of playing, if they need a goal, Pellegrino and Elfage up front when they have those demons coming up from the back in Cercati and Valenti and whoever they have. Del Prato. Yeah, they're just a cool team.
Valenti. Robert Nesta Marley. I had no idea. There was one of the greatest defenders in history in Bob Marley's name. Jeez, what?
Because they asked Elfage when he joined if he was named after Nesta, and he said, "No, I'm named after Bob Marley."
But that's so. Imagine someone asks you like, "Who are you named after?" Jacob Elordi, and you go, "No, Quentin Tarantino."
It's Quentin Jake Tarantino.
But anyway, Parma and Udinese, right? So Parma find themselves now in 14th on 39 points, level on points with Genoa actually, while Udinese find themselves in 11th on 43 points, just 2 points behind Sassuolo, who are in 10th.
Yes, sir.
Sassuolo are newly promoted, by the way, just to remember that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Cremonese 0, Torino 0. Emil Audero, the pride of Indonesia, and goal in their 4-4-2 formation with Terracciano, Baschirotto, Luperto and Pezzella as a formidable back four. Mussolini on the right, obviously. Van de Putte on the left. Bondo and Grassi in the middle with Bonazzoli and Sanabria up front. Pagliari was in goal for Torino as they lined up in a 3-4-1-2 formation with Ebosse, Maripan and Cocco at the back. Pedersen on the right, Obrador on the left. Casane in the middle with Vlasic playing behind Adams and Simeone. This was a low quality game. Huh? It was shit. and it was literally like barely any chances were created. Go on YouTube and watch the highlights. There's one half chance and then it cuts to halftime. It's hilarious.
Bro.
The first half produced 2 shots with none of them being on target. And Cremonese actually did improve after the break, and they finished with 14 shots, 4 of them being on target, and 65% ball possession. But they were denied by Pagliari, who was actually pretty good in the second half, made some amazing saves, and a VAR decision because it was Baschirotto who had the ball in the back of the net. But it turns out for him to get it in the back of the net, he kicked it out of Pagliari's hands, which you're not obviously allowed to do. It was a moment, though, seeing Baschirotto celebrating while scoring a goal to potentially save his team from relegation. I enjoyed that moment. Torino offered very minimal threat. They had 4 shots with one of them being on target only, and they, I guess, secured a point through defensive resilience, if you want to say that.
No, I mean they were good in the sense that Torino have been creating a bunch of chances under D'Aversa.
They've been great. This was quite a disappointing performance.
That trio of Simeone, Adams and Vlasic with Ginaitis coming up, Casadei late runs into the box as well. They've been very inventive. But Luperto, I thought Luperto had an excellent game. It was the first time I saw Luperto stand out at Cremonese.
Really? He's one of those old reliables, Luperto, and he's not even. Can you click him? Check his age, because he's like 29, no? Bro, I think even younger. He looks like a veteran, and he plays like a
29.
29 he is. Oh, damn it! Yeah. Crazy.
Woo!
I mean, Torino's attack this game, despite how they have been playing, was extremely blunt, bro. Like, they barely created anything.
I just to bring up, so you guys know what fixtures Lecce have remaining. This is what Cremonese have remaining. Away Napoli, home Lazio, home Pisa.
Massive.
That might be fucking huge because that is it could be a clear
they have
victory
to win that
for
one
Cremonese.
Because Lecce have 2 of these games. They have 1.
But then away Udinese, home Como. I favor Lecce, man.
Absolutely.
I favor Lecce.
Same here. Same here. I think Lecce get it done, man.
Di Francesco cannot get relegated 3 times in a row, bro. It'd destroy him.
No, I think it won't happen.
Isn't Di Francesco's son a footballer?
Di Francesco's son is a footballer.
Yes, he played in. He was actually in Serie A at a point.
Was he with Spal? Yes, bro, with Spal. Petagna's Spal. That team that was built around Petagna. It was so much fun to watch.
What happened to him? He fell off.
He's probably playing in Serie B, man. The great Serie B. I love
Francesco.
Federico.
Sorry, Francesco Di Federico.
Federico and reads Francesco.
Federico Di Francesco. Yes,
Palermo, is it?
I believe he's at Palermo now. Place of birth, Pisa. Cool. Not what it says here.
Okay, whatever.
Catanzaro.
Nice.
On loan from Palermo.
Yeah. I guess we can say clear fatigue. Bonazzoli stood out for me for Cremonese as he tends to. He was the one who forced Cagliari into that save. But I mean, there's nothing else for me to add about this game, to be honest with you. And Cremonese are in 17th with 28 points, while Torino are 12th with 40 points.
Last game, Pisa 1, Genoa 2, 4 losses in a row for Pisa now, still walking funny after their night in Rome with Milan. Denoon and Marin were still hurt. Loran and Illing Jr. not called up by the coach. Genoa made the 2 wins in a row after last week's victory over Sassuolo. Ellertson, Frendrup and Malinovsky were suspended. Of course, Ellertson decided to punch Berardi in the face. Frendrup and Malinovsky, I believe, had an accumulation of yellow cards. Norton
I guess he's
Coffey.
not his friend Drup.
He might be his best friend, Drup, who knows. Norton Coffey and Cornet were injured. The previous encounter between these two sides was a 1-1 draw. It was a 3-4-2-1 for Pisa, with Carnestrelli, Caracciolo and Calabresi at the back, Angori on the left, Ture on the right, double pivot of Akinsanmiro and Abusher, with Tramoni and Loyola playing behind Moreo. 3-4-1-2 formation for Genoa, Bilo in goal, backline of Marcandalli, Ostegard and Vasquez. Martin was on the right, Sabelli on the left, double pivot of Amorim and Mazzini, with Baldanzi playing behind Colombo and Ekator. I dare you to look up anything related to this midfielder Amorim. It's impossible. It's impossible. No matter what you write, Ruben Amorim comes up, bro. No matter what. You could put in his ID card number and Ruben Amorim will come up. Right, Amorim Geno, I dare you, man. But anyway, Pisa struck first from a set piece as Carnestrelli headed in from a corner.
Up immediately.
What the fuck, dude? Fuck that.
Alex Amorim, 20 years old, born in Brazil.
Brazil.
He has previously played for Fortaleza, Athletic,
obviously.
Alverca, and now Genoa, of course.
Yeah. Pisa struck first from a set piece as Carnestrelli headed in from a corner, exposing Genoa's usual weakness. And this was Carnestrelli's first Serie A goal, or first goal of the season, rather. Pisa almost doubled their lead.
In Serie A in general, bro.
It might be, considering he probably never played
in
Serie A before this season. Pisa almost doubled their lead immediately after. It was a crazy, very much like the Sassuolo counter-attack against Como, where one clearance got them in a 2 players clean through on goal. It was Angori running with Tramoni right near him. 2v1 on the keeper. No defender in sight, nothing. There was one defender making up some ground. I believe it was number 27. I forget his name. Angori didn't square it because he did a heavy touch and the defender caught up quite a bit, Marcandalli. So he didn't square it to Tramoni, who was offside. He could have hung back a little bit more, but whatever.
Bro, Tramoni was it didn't help him whatsoever. He was offside the entire
sequence. He's really
sequence.
disappointed with the season because last year he was great in Serie B. But anyway, and Angori had no option, to be fair, than to go for a goal, and what a 1v1 save it was by Bilo.
And Stitch.
Genoa responded well and equalized through Ekator, who fired into the roof of the net after a good link-up play. Then after the break, Genoa kept pushing and completed the comeback when Colombo converted a penalty following a handball from Carnestrelli. So a very mixed day for Carnestrelli. Colombo at a point had a really wicked chance where he shot from a tight angle and it only by a whisker.
He went for
it went out.
the most audacious technique possible. I feel like he could
It's
have.
cool.
I think he overcomplicated, but the shot was wicked.
It was
I wish
wicked.
it went in.
It was wicked.
Wicked shot.
Um,
Wicked.
Genoa looked vulnerable on the counter and during set plays, but one thing we can't fault them for is their ability to score goals under Daniele De Rossi.
Absolutely, bro. They play a very exciting brand of football. They're fun to watch, and I really hope that De Rossi isn't poached, because I want to see him again next season with Genoa. I want to see a full season. I want to see them improve and bring in some exciting players on loan and make some smart signings. I think that they have an interesting foundation and they can cause some upsets, man. This team is sick.
You'll be very glad to hear that Colombo will remain at Genoa next season because they're, I believe, so these aren't for public viewing, but reports say that his loan becomes an obligation on certain conditions, right? One of these was when he hits 5 goals. So if he hits 5
on 7,
goals,
I believe.
the move needs to become permanent, because in January there was an article that said he was on 3 goals and said with 2 more goals he can stay permanently at Genoa, or it automatically triggers it, whatever. And that Genoa don't get relegated,
Which is fine.
so Colombo will be at Genoa next season unless they sell him. And they also have reached a personal agreement with Baldanzi to make the move permanent from Roma on a 4-year deal. Now there is an option of 10 million only for Baldanzi.
That's great. He's looked very exciting. I think he moved way too prematurely to Roma.
Totally, man.
But I like the way you move.
Hey, Baldanzi, I like the way you move. You know, part of that deal was Venturino going from Genoa to Roma, so I guess he'll be staying on at Roma.
I guess so.
But
There's been a goal.
He needs to be loaned out. Como have opened the scoring.
Mental. Who's that?
And it's...
Fabregas looks a bit indifferent right now. He looks like, of course we scored first. We
Is that
did that last
Kemp? No, Van der Bremt.
I can't tell who it is.
I think Van der Bremt. No, Baturina.
Baturina, nice Croatian talent.
Yep. Also, I thought the double pivot for Genoa was quite good. Amorim and Mazzini, I feel like they're very, very well rounded. But in this game, which was bound to be a bit more physical against Pisa, Van der Bremt did so well there.
Bro, they
Great
cooked
finish.
DiMarco was absolutely schooled.
But Amorim and Mazzini, this is their duels. 9 out of 10 ground duels won for Amorim. 7 out of 10 ground duels won for Mazzini.
Very good man.
In that double pivot.
Solid, that's what you want.
Solid. Their carries are decent, their passing stats are decent, but those are the things that stood out to me. I don't want to say anything about Pisa, apart from the fact that they are certainly relegated, and I'm fed up of Pisa.
They're so poor, unfortunately, and they were so much better and more fun to watch under Gilardino, and that's every highlight reel at the moment of Pisa has one moment. Honestly, go and watch the last few back where there is a shocking mistake. A shocking bit of misjudgment from a player.
Carnestrelli's handball, he looked like De Gea making the handball.
Bro, even Angori's chance with Tramoni not even staying on side for him, and the angry village behind him with pitchforks. That's what they looked like. That's what they looked like tracking back. You see like 7 players in a group charging behind them, and they mess up that chance. How do you mess up that chance?
They're dead last, and for good reason, on 18 points. While Genoa find themselves in 13th on 39 points, level on points with Parma Calcio. So before closing things off, we need to look at our fantasy league, and our prediction series.
You've cut some ground, have you?
I have cut some ground. Nathan, can you kindly pull up our fantasy league, please, handsome man? That's not the nickname I've been calling you all day, but on air.
Oh my! Look at my WhatsApp, man. I haven't had my phone for 2 hours. I have like 100 freaking messages.
I was off yesterday, and I can't even say the amount of emails that I had because people think I'm a drug dealer. I'm not.
Or the head of whatever. Let's not disclose what you are. The head of my dick.
The head of my ass. Yes. So looking at the Serie A Spotlight League, I have made some ground on Alan Because
Alan.
I got, I believe,
Alan.
75 points this week, and Alan got 74, which means that the gap has narrowed to 7.5 from 8 or 8.5.
You're gonna have to take a risk. You're going to have to bench Marlon at some point to like, and if you get lucky, your sub can score and you can jump him, man.
And I've been taking risks, huh?
You've been there.
I've been taking risks, dog. I'm killing it this season.
And then a fair goal on my bench.
Ooh.
My bench.
I've been benching Leao and starting
got another risk.
Esposito. I
You said you've been
starting
taking risk.
Esposito against Inter over Leao
Yeah,
against
yeah.
Hellas Verona,
Yeah,
dog.
fair. That's just foolish.
That's foolish because
Foolish.
Leao got an assist, so
Yeah.
things could have been very different. But that's Katana Choke Me Maxi with Allen in first. Zanetti's asshole, that's me in second. 10 points ahead of Inter. Your mom. Grog Gilmore in fourth. Cortomuso in fifth. Chesco with US Salernitanga in sixth. Two Girls, One Coop in seventh. Ardon's Hardon in eighth. Saponara Seaman in ninth. SSC Drees Nuts in 10th. Jim City Life Mitrai Forget By in 11th. Loco Choco Saul Coco in 12th. Today Your Love Tomorrow the World in 13th. In 14th Lotito Vendere Vattene, and in 15th Giordano 67. I'll stop there because there are like 50 teams in this league.
Sarah has totally dipped. You don't see her
She
name
has
anywhere
dipped
anymore.
in general, to be honest.
Yo.
Take it as you want. Why are you looking at that? It's a simple joke. She's dipped.
Yo. I'm gonna
I
show her
know
this
why
part.
you guys are thinking that I'm talking about whatever. Yes, but the best week was by Inter Your Mom.
Who had the second best week, man?
Christian Pusilic, manager Juan Bonerby. That's a guy I won't have a drink with, however named that team. Ardon's Hardon had a good week. Loco Choco Saul,
I think it's Cam, man.
probably.
Yeah.
Knowing Cam. Yep, but that's the form table. Shall we jump to our prediction series?
Yes, let's.
Mela, Serie fixtures. Let's have a look. So I believe it's your turn to start this week, bro.
It doesn't really matter because we always forget whose turn it was anyway.
True. I'll do this with the hands so we remember.
Excellent.
Okay, so you start. It's Napoli, Cremonese.
You know what, man? I'm gonna start with a bold one over here, and I'm gonna say draw.
I'm gonna go even bolder and say Napoli. Parma, Pisa. I am gonna go Parma.
I'm gonna go. I think Parma gets it done too. Parma.
Bologna, Roma.
Roma.
Draw. Verona, Lecce. This is the call, Tav. This is a huge call. Huge implications in this game, Verona, Lecce. Verona at home against a team they think they could beat.
Let's
Draw.
go for alcohol. Lecce.
Fiorentina, Sassuolo.
Draw.
Draw. Genoa, Como. I'm gonna go Como.
Como as well.
Torino, Inter.
I'll go Inter.
I'll go Inter as well. Milan, Juve. It's here. Milan, Juve. Frustrating 90 minutes of football. Boring. Draw.
Draw. This is 100% a draw. Draw.
Cagliari, Atalanta. Oh my god.
Could it be, man?
We were there, huh?
We were there, and they did
It was
it.
like
We
the
saw
stage
it.
of the season, a bit later.
Nicolas Viola. Draw, man. They hold them.
I'm gonna go Atalanta.
They have Coppa.
I know.
Lazio, Udinese.
My turn. I'm gonna go draw.
I'll go Lazio. They have Coppa too, but I'll go Lazio.
Congratulations for getting through this one, guys.
Yeah,
If you have, comment El Fej.
Yes, comment El Fej.
See you all next week. Love you all. Good night.